Live from Plainfield High School, it is Indiana High School football as the 1-2 Plainfield High School Quakers are set to take on independent Roncalli High School Rebels, who are 1-2 as well on the season. Good evening, I'm JP Sinclair along with Lex Zorn and Doug Edens, and this is the AudioSportsOnline.com pregame show.
Yeah, we got 13 on the warm-up box. We got plenty of time. We got one more segment and then
Are you hearing me okay through there?
The last game out for Plainfield High School was a devastating home loss against Mooresville here at Plainfield High School. Mooresville dominated the matchup, winning 20-6. One of the big stories coming out of that game was the loss of running back John Finch, who is also the team's big kick returner for this Plainfield High School team, Lex.
Yes, it was a really tough game for the Quakers from top to bottom, and, the team had already been without 8 or so starters this season because of assorted injuries, including leading rusher Jacob Maple, who rushed for over 13 yards last season as a sophomore and who they were really counting on this season. So a big challenge for the Quakers tonight is going to be getting something going on offense. Last week, Coy Anderson, had a pretty good second half coming off the bench, and plus tonight we're told that Jacob Maple will be dressed. It is questionable how effective he'll be, though. And also the Quakers also need to get some kind of passing offense established to open some holes from Anderson and some of these other young rushers.
Yeah, as you said, the team lost the services of starting running back Jacob Maple during the first game of the season, so very early on, and have really struggled getting their running attack going this season. Third stringer Coy Anderson has filled in admirably, but his defensive presence on the other side of the ball has also been very much missed by this Plainfield High School team. The team did get good news, though. Jacob Maple will be back for this game, as he said, and he will get some reps, but will not be the primary ball carrier here tonight.
Yeah, certainly, if he turns out to be closer to 100% than expected, that will be welcome. But even so, there were some good signs for the Quakers last week. On the defensive side of the ball, they really contained the Mooresville rushing offense very well. And even though Mooresville's starting quarterback sensation, Alex Fabert, did throw for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, for what he they only gave up 20 points. So they did some good things on the other side of the ball.
Well, when we come back, we will continue to preview this matchup and bring you the offensive and defensive starter for both teams. You're listening to AudioSportsOnline.com. Welcome back, and thank you for listening to Plainfield Varsity Football, powered by AudioSportsOnline.com. This broadcast is brought to you by the Hendricks County Flyer, Rhodes & Kinley LLP, Copyco Office Solutions, American Family Insurance, Doug Hawk Agency Incorporated, Wicker Construction, Julia Burbridge of Remax Centerstone, Niagara Bottling Company, The Beacon Sign Company, 3 Pints Brew Pub, Carey Digital, Jimmy John's, Dugan Chevrolet, Dugan Sports Performance, and the Coachman Restaurant and Lounge, BMO Harris, and the Payroll Department. as we were talking about, Plainfield last season went 3-6 under head coach Brian Woodard. They started the season out the gates in very strong fashion, but lost a lot of games down the stretch. They finished 4th in the Mid-State Conference. Last year they had some issues, but are trying to get back to their winning ways that they had early on in the season last year. Woodard himself is entering his 8th year at the helm of Plainfield, a combined record of 55-36. Plainfield is averaging 14 points per game and are giving up 21 points per, so not exactly the best numbers from this team.
No, they're not, but there certainly are a boatload of mitigating circumstances. Like I said, they've had about 8 starters out this season because of injury, and which is largely the case last season, when they lost Josh Miller, they lost Morgan Hagee, and it really threw the team out of balance. And, they also had a very tough schedule last year. They played a 6A team who they actually beat, Columbus North, on the road, and they played 4 5A teams and lost all 4, but mostly very close games. And this year, they're back, again playing a similar schedule to last year. But this is one year in which they could use a couple of cupcakes on the schedule, to make some adjustments. But if you're a Plainfield fan, you just got to hope that these games against these tough opponents, and having to play these young guys will pay dividends, that it'll toughen up some of these young guys, give them some valuable game experience, and that they'll be ready to make some noise come tournament time. And then, of course, you hope that you get a good draw, Brian Woodard he made it to the sectional championship his first 4 years as Plainfield coach, but then the last 4 years lost in the first round. 3 of those years they had the misfortune of drawing these very Roncalli Rebels in the first round. And, of course, Roncalli, similarly, part of their misfortune is that prior to last year they had the misfortune of playing Cathedral 6 of the previous 7 years in the playoffs. So much depends on the almighty draw, without seeding to go by.
And that all depends on your record, so very important to try and get as good of a record as you can early on in the season. Opponents are averaging 200 yards throwing and 150 yards rushing against Plainfield so far this season. I spoke to Coach Woodard prior to the game. He said it's been a rough year. As Leck alluded to, there's been 7+ starters out much of this young season, and this team, who only has a few seniors on either side of the ball, has really struggled thus far because of that. You can check out the archive podcast of the Brian Woodard Show every week on audiosportsonline.net under Plainfield. In our weekly sit-down this week with Coach, we talked about the loss against Mooresville and previewed today's game. Taking a look now at Roncalli, I mean, they come into the Knights matchup 1-2 on the season. Not the usual Roncalli Rebels we have come to know of the years.
No, they've had a lot of injuries starting in training camp with senior running back sensation Colin McNamara, who was the team's leading rusher last season as a junior. He was, excellent in that game we called together out at Decatur Central. And the team really has not really hit their stride on offense without him. And plus, in addition to that, their starting quarterback has really struggled. He's thrown 23 he's completed 23. Casey Gore's completed 23 of 53 passes, no touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So they definitely need to get some passing offense established as well. And so certainly Roncalli, and they have had a couple of tough opponents. Back in week 1, they played Southport, who traditionally has not been a power, but they were the turnaround team of the state last year. And then last week, they played 12-time state champion Bishop Chittard, and were fairly competitive. They lost only 27. Then in between, they did get a solid win, 16-6 over Franklin Central. So they enter the game at 1-2, as does Plainfield. So these are two teams that have really struggled with injuries all season, and but nevertheless, the winner of this game will begin the first third of the season on a positive note, and even their record at 2-2, which would not be a bad thing, all things considered.
Well, the Roncalli Rebels are coached by Bruce Seifries, who is in his 24th year at the helm. He has 217 wins on his belt, as well as 77 losses in those seasons, with 6 state titles to his name, including the three-peat back in 02, 03, 04. So he's obviously very familiar with what he's trying to do with this Roncalli football program.
Yes, Coach Cipher is one of the true living legends here in Indiana sports, and ironically, a 1975 graduate of this very high school, Plainfield. So it's good to see that he has a friendly rivalry going with his alma mater. And although this is a rivalry that he has traditionally dominated over the years, and so you look at that history, especially in recent years, Roncalli has won the last 3 games in this rivalry, as well as 6 of the 9 since they began playing annually in 2005. So definitely, but if Plainfield were to get a win tonight, certainly that would be, even against an injury-plagued team, that would still be very welcome. When you're missing as many starters as they are, you'll take any win you can get.
Well, so far through the first 2 games of this young season up here in the press box, we've been, shall we say, sweating a little bit, but not tonight. It's 62 degrees here as kickoff's almost upon us. It's very cloudy with only a 2% chance of rain, so I think we are safe from that as Plainfield, you can hear the cheers from the crowd, takes to the field. Speaking of this crowd, despite that, a little bit of chilly weather, crowd's definitely in full force for Plainfield. Not too bad for Roncalli on the other side of the way. Let's go and talk a little bit about the starters for both these teams. We'll start with Roncalli and their offense. They're led by Casey Gore, the senior, 6'2", 183 pounds. Has struggled thus far in the year. 0 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, as my partner alluded to. They do run a little bit of a 2-wide out with a tight end and a running back fullback combination, so a lot of I formation from the Roncalli Rebels. Nate Freeze is their running back, the junior, 5'10", 175. He has only 134 yards on the year and only 2 touchdowns, so they'll be looking to try and get him going. Opening up some of those holes on the blocking for him is going to be Robbie Strader, the 6', 165-pound junior. And they'll also be looking to try and get Danny Aney going, the 216, 6'7" senior, the tight end for them. He has 4 receptions for 23 yards on the year, as the Roncalli Rebels also are taking to the field. Up front for this Roncalli offense, Lou Hibner from left to right, the 6'5", 258 junior. Garrett Shura, the 6', 204 junior. Senior Eli Smith, 6', 223. Brian Watts, 6'1", 314 pounds. He's also a senior. And then Cameron Van Horn will be playing that right tackle position, 262 pounds, 6'3", senior. The other main targets for them in this Roncalli offense will be Gavin Taylor. He's the left wide out, senior, 6'1", 183. 7 receptions on season for him, as well as the lone throwing touchdown for this Roncalli offense. Lake Alferry will be on the other side of the field, the 6', 175 senior, as both teams are, well, at least the Plainfield captains are ready for the coin toss. Let's go ahead and take a look now at the Plainfield defense. In the 3-4, Matt Moeller, Bryce Biddle, and Nick Rowan will be up front. Bryce Biddle has been a very active player so far on the year. He's only a sophomore, 5'11", 250 pounds. He has 27 tackles, 2 for loss, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 recoveries. So he's been active for 3 games, and they'll look to him to try and continue that here defensively here tonight. Nick Rowan's the junior, 5'11", 305 pounds, and Matt Moeller on the other side on the line will be the 6', 220 junior. That linebacker core of Tevin Tomlinson, Luke Miller, Seth Knuckles, and Brad Whitaker will be fairly active tonight. Tevin Tomlinson is the team's leading tackler. He's a 5'10", 205 junior. He has 32 tackles thus far on the season. Luke Miller, the seniors, 175-pound, 5'10", inside linebacker. The Seth Nichols, the 6', 200 senior. And then lastly on that linebacker core, sophomore Brad Whitaker, 5'11". In the defensive backfield for Plainfield, Corey Bennett will be back there, the sophomore. Dayton Clemens has also been a very active player so far. He also is up there in team leads. He has 35 tackles thus far on the season, as well as the lone interception for Plainfield. He's a 185-pound, 5'11" senior. Mark Dahm is also in that free safety slot, the 6', 180 senior. Roncalli has won the toss and will defer, so Plainfield will have the ball first. And then the other cornerback will be Tyler Maple, the freshman, seeing a little bit more action as the season goes along. Since Roncalli deferred, we should probably talk about the return man for this Plainfield team.
Yes.
Back deep to return will be Clayton White and Dayton Clemens. Clayton White has 1 kickoff return for 7 yards on the season, so they'll be seeing a little bit of new action, and we'll get to that Plainfield offense and Roncalli defense when those 2 teams come out.
Well, we've got a nice crowd here. We see, in contrast to last week where we saw a lot of short-sleeve shirts, we see a lot of sweatshirts and jackets this week, but it hasn't, doesn't seem to have hurt attendance. We have about the same number of people we did last week, and we got a nice contingency across the field from us, people who made the trip from Roncalli on the south side of Indianapolis. And
Plainfield will be wearing their red uniforms with the white pants and red trim. Roncalli counters with their blue pants, white jerseys, and red trim. So a lot of red in the stands for both these two teams tonight. Kicking off will be Matt Cunningham. He has 8 kickoffs on the year for a 39-yard average, the senior. And
they're here, the band, making their noise. The crowd is standing. Everybody's ready for week 4 of the season.
And we're away here at Plainfield High School. Coming up to field it is Dayton. Check that, Clayton White. He has an outlet to the right side, still on his feet up to the 30 before he's brought down. And that's where Plainfield will start their offense. Their offense is led by junior quarterback Colin Neiswinder, 5'9", 165 pounds. He's got 235 passing yards, as well as 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. He'll look to try and get Coy Anderson, the speedster, 27 carries for 87 yards will be his main running back. They'll try and get that ball to start that running attack. 2 receivers wide left in Dante Keys and Clayton White. I formation on the offset hash. Man in motion is Dante Keys from left to right. Handoff goes straight ahead to Tristan Southwood, the fullback. He's the leading rusher so far for Plainfield. He rushes ahead for a gain of, call it, 2, maybe 3. Might actually have gotten 4 on that carry, so very nice carry to start the game.
Yeah, Tristan Southwood, he had a few good carries last week in that loss to Mooresville. But, being a fullback, once they got down, especially late in the game when they needed some yards, he just largely, was not utilized when they needed some, big gains.
Mark Dom wide left. The flanker's Dante Keys. Also coming out there now is Jacob Maple. Neiswinder hands it off to Tristan Southwood straight ahead for another gain of 2 yards. Seeing a little bit different action with Mark Dom in there, and as we said, Jacob Maple finally coming back, so good to see him out there. This offensive line for Plainfield, Alex Ray, Jacob Morris, Jacob Spray, Connor Kennedy, and Nolan Russell all up front. The lone freshman is Connor Kennedy at the right guard position. Bunch formation in the eye. Man in motion's Bryce Biddle. Handoff goes straight ahead. Believe that was Coy Anderson. Check, that might have been Maple. We'll see. It was actually Jacob Maple. So welcome back, Jacob Maple. Gets ahead for a yard, but it's not enough to convert the 3rd down.
Well, certainly after scoring only 6 points last week, 3 and out is not the way you want to start out this game.
So Morgan Hagee will be on to punt. He has 19 punts on the year for 698 yards, a 36-yard average. Robbie Strader is back there to return for Roncalli. And it's actually a little bit of a fake, but, it's actually still a punt. Hagee kicks it, and it'll be down just inside the 25-yard line at, call it the 24.
Well, really, though, it's not such a bad start, with Roncalli, who's had a pretty struggling offense this season, not getting real good field position to start off the game for their first offensive possession. So it could have been worse.
Go ahead.
So it was a nice job there by Hagee, running around, just seeing if there's an opening, and then still getting off a pretty good punt.
Gavin Taylor wide to the right. In the slots, Robbie Strader. Casey Gore in the shotgun. Handoff goes straight ahead to Nate Freeze, who tries to bounce it out to the left side. Doesn't find anything. He's stuffed up front. Tackle made that time by Bryce Biddle. So that'll bring out 2nd and 9. This Roncalli team ranked 29th in the state, averaging about 12 points per game. Opponents are averaging 18 against them, though.
Yeah, and, once again, we see the rushing defense, pick up where it left off last week. I think they held Mooresville somewhere around 40 yards rushing, and, so it's a good job stuffing Nate Freeze on the first play from scrimmage for Roncalli.
Gavin Taylor wide left. In the slot is Tyler Alvery. And it sets up the screen to Alvery. Casey Gore has it. Check that. That's actually Robbie Strader, who gets ahead to the first down and more, up ahead to about the 40 before he's finally pushed out. The push out was made that time by Tyler Maple.
Well, certainly it's a good sign, for Casey Gore as he's struggled on the season. Good for him to get 14 yards there on his first pass of the game, a completion to Robbie Strader. So they're definitely trying to get something going from him, and he has yet to throw a touchdown pass this season after 4 interceptions.
Motion man Strader now coming across the field. He'll take it on the rush. Has pursuit in the backfield and fumbles. Ball comes out, and I believe Plainfield has it. So the end-around play on the rush by Strader does not go anywhere, and Plainfield has the ball and will have it in excellent field position. So great job by this Plainfield defense forcing that first turnover.
Well, now the big challenge, they got to capitalize on this mistake. You got the ball at the Roncalli 40. You're just a few yards away from getting into Hagee's range. So, it's imperative, you do not leave the field without getting some points here.
We'll get to those Roncalli defensive starters. We haven't had a chance to get to them yet here in a minute. Clayton White wide to the left. Dante Keys in the slot, I formation with Nicewinder under center. And the clock is stopped as the refs wave their whistles, and it'll be a Plainfield timeout. So while we have a timeout, let's go and thank some more of our sponsors. The Hendricks County Flyer, we want to thank them. They have helped make tonight's video webcast possible. Please check them out online as well as watch them tonight at flyergroup.com. Hendricks Regional Health, Motion 360 by Hendricks Regional Health provides care for the way you were meant to move. We care for every muscle, bone, and joint in your body to get you back to the activities you love. Get more information online at motion360.org. Established in 1882 as Harris Bank and owned by BMO Financial Group since 1984, BMO Harris Bank has grown to become one of the largest banks in the Midwest, serving personal, commercial, and affluent customers. They are located in Plainfield at 2609 East Main. For more information, call them at 839-3501. Rhodes and Kinsley LLP and CPAs and financial advisors. In business since 1990, they handle individual and business tax and accounting work. Located at 8315 West 10th Street in Indianapolis, you can call 271-1040 to set up an appointment. I formation once again, same play almost for the setup. Dante Keys in the slot. Wide left is Clayton White. Motion man is Jacob Maple. Now offset left. Handoff actually goes to Maple, and he's swallowed up. Doesn't get much, if anything.
Yeah, he's brought down a yard or two behind the line of scrimmage. And, again, we do not know to what they're marking him down at the line of scrimmage, which is like a little bit of a generous spot to me. But nevertheless, it'll be interesting to see, how Maple does here in his first game back. He played barely in the Week 1 loss to Columbus North. I know that Plainfield's hoping they'll get something close to a 100% effort condition tonight.
Handoff this time goes to Coy Anderson straight ahead. He doesn't get much either. Maybe a gain of 2 or 3 up ahead to close to the 36-yard line. So that'll bring out third and call it 6.
I mean, certainly they'll get obviously they'll get a 100% effort from Maple. The question is, what kind of condition is he in? And so, of course, 2 carries is not much to judge him on, so, time will tell. But nevertheless, Quakers trying to get first down here, or at least in Hagee's field goal range, which they're pretty close to already.
2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. We saw Hagee kick that 43-yarder last week. Pass is almost picked off. Great play for the deflection that time by Jake Franklin, the 6-foot, 186-pound junior, coming in there to deflect that pass. Almost had the one-handed interception, but just couldn't quite haul it in.
Well, it would be a 53-yard field goal from Morgan Hagee. He attempted a 54-yarder last week, but it looks
barely
like
missed it too.
Yeah. And he did have 2 makes, including a 43-yarder, but it looks like they are going to punt here and trying to pin the Rebels deep into their own territory, which is not a bad strategy for a team with a limited offense.
So Hagee gets it, has a nice kick, and bounces just the wrong way, and it'll be into the backfield for a touchback into the end zone. So Roncalli will take it at their own 20.
So the Rebels turns out the fumble was harmless, and they get the ball only 3 yards further back than where they first got it on their first possession. So now let's see if Casey Gore can build on his solid first pass, which went to Strader for 14 yards.
Very nice little screenplay that they set up. We'll see if they continue with that.
7:43 to go here in the first quarter. No score at Plainfield.
Gavin Taylor goes wide to right, trips bunch formation on the left-hand side of the screen. Gore in the shotgun. Fakes to freeze, pump fakes.
Goes
the left-hander has a man wide open at the 50, one man to beat, 40, 30, makes a move to cut back, and missing.
He's going
the tackle,
all the way.
And that's
80
going to be a
yards.
stretch. 80, nice reception for Roncalli for Robbie Strader's first touchdown of the season.
Well, I'll tell you, he got his Casey Gore just got his first touchdown of the season, and it couldn't have been, bigger than it was.
Well,
80 yards down the left side to Robbie Strader.
Give credit to Gore. I mean, that pump fake really throwed off the secondary as they bid on it pretty hard, and that left Strader wide open for that long. And give credit also on the cutback. That was a beautiful move in the open field.
That's right, yeah.
Matt Cunningham's on for the PATs, 4 of 5 on his attempts thus far this year. The hold will be Will Harris. Kick is up and looks to be good. So Roncalli takes the first blood of the game, scoring first, and it's in dominating fashion. 7-0. Plainfield has a lot of work to do here, Leck.
Yeah, certainly, giving up a big play like that is devastating, especially after what Alex Fabert did last week, and certainly reinforces the need to improve this passing defense for the Quakers. And now we'll see how the offense responds playing from behind, as they did almost all of last game. They briefly had the 3-0 lead, then Mooresville took the lead less than a minute later and held it the rest of the way.
Well, while we have a second, let's think of a couple more of our sponsors. CopyCo Office Solutions is a local Xerox dealership. They sell and service copiers and printers and provide a wide variety of technology solutions, providing and supporting all your business technology needs. CopyCo is located at 2920 Fortune Circle West, Suite C. Call 241-5800 or stop by Monday through Friday from 8 to 5.
Well, it was a one-play, 13-second drive, 80-yard pass from Robbie Strader, to Robbie Strader from Casey Gore. And so now the Rebels open up a 7-0 lead here, 7:30 to go in the first quarter at Plainfield.
Cunningham set to kick off. Zach Archer and
Touchback.
Clayton White back deep to return, but there will be no return on this one, as my colleague alluded to. It's going to be a touchback.
Yeah, then that was an odd-looking touchback because that ball did not go real high. It was pretty well a line drive. Great kick. So Cunningham looks like he's got a good leg on him.
So Plainfield has a chance to try and answer as their offense starts at their own 20. Plainfield driving left to right on your radio dial or computer screen.
Worst starting field position so far.
Coy Anderson goes wide to left in motion. Handoff goes to Maple straight ahead, pushing the pile. There's the Maple of old that we know, getting a nice rush ahead for 5 yards with defenders on his back.
Yeah.
Check that. That was Tristan Southwood on the carry.
So Southwood with his fourth of the game. That one goes for 5 yards. He has 12 yards now. 3 carries, 12 yards, so an average of 4 a carry. On the season coming into tonight, 23 for 26, an average of 5.5, leading the team in both overall yards and average per carry.
Clayton White wide right, Gavin Ritter wide left. Bunch formation in the backfield. Handoff is stuffed, as it was, I think, Bryce Biddle on the carry. Check that. Yep, it was Bryce Biddle on the carry. So the second string fullback had the carry that time for a loss of, call it, 1.
And that is Biddle's first carry of the season, by the way, and it goes for -1.
So now it'll bring out third and call it 6. Nice winder once again under center I formation. 2 receivers right side and Keys and White. And nice winder almost lost it, but pressure comes right up and it's intercepted. And that one could be a touchdown, and it is. So great awareness that time, believe, by Nate Otley.
Well, devastating.
That was Jordan Sinkhorn, the nose tackle. So the 5'9", 219 junior gets his first touchdown on the interception of the year.
Devastating start to the game for the Quakers.
So Cunningham wants back on again to try the PAT to try and put this Roncalli team up 14-0. Kick is low, but picked up and put through by Cunningham. So Plainfield finds themselves here in an early hole, 14-0, with 6:06 left to go in the first.
Well, I'll tell you now, this really puts the Quaker offense in a deep hole. They're really going to have to buckle down and get something going. They got to understand they cannot get it all back on one possession. They still got a little over 7/8 of the game to go, but they cannot panic. They have to show some poise. And main thing is just keep the chains moving. You just have to average 3.4 yards a carry. And
You know, it's really interesting when you look at this Roncalli defense. They line up in that 3-5-3, a 5-linebacker core with 3 linemen up front and then the usual people in the backfield. So it's very interesting when you see Roncalli line up because you never really know where that blitz is coming from with 5 different linebackers.
Yeah, and of course, that's what you expect from a Bruce Cyphers team, there's a reason he's won 6 state championships. I mean, he's definitely one of the great coaches in Indiana high school football history.
Cunningham on to kick it away for Roncalli. Zach Archer as well as...
Another touchback.
Well, that one's not going to be returned anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter who else is back there. But it was also Clayton White back there. So Plainfield will try and get their offense going. And as they come out to the field, we want to thank the Avon Dental Center. They provided custom-made mouth guards to the football program for the 2nd consecutive year and are celebrating their 20th year in business. They're located at 7517 Beechwood Center Road, Suite 100 in Avon, and can be reached at 272-8100. We'll see if that blitz comes again from the left side after it was so effective last drive. Spread formation, 2 receivers. Well, check that once, a tight end, but 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Neiswinder in the shotgun. He'll hand off straight ahead. Couldn't see exactly who it was on the carry.
This is Maple.
Jacob Maple.
Yeah.
So he gets ahead for a call at 1, so it'll be 2nd and 9.
So Jacob Maple, 3 carries, 2 yards, but that's not much to go on, but certainly they will probably need a lot more from him if they're going to have a shot tonight.
Dante Keys wide to the left. In the slot is Clayton White. Wide right as Neiswinder takes the low snap, looks straight ahead, and a flag is thrown on the play. The intended target on that throw was Seth Neckles, seeing a little bit more action on the offensive side of the ball than we're used to seeing.
Yeah, so far in the season, Clayton White, the leading receiver for the Quakers, 10 catches, 92 yards, no touchdowns yet. And he is leading the team both in catches and in yards.
The flag on the play was a hold against Plainfield. It was declined, so that'll bring out 3rd and call it 9.
So another dreaded 3rd and long. Let's see if the Quakers get something going here.
Mark Dom wide to the left. In the slots, Clayton White. Wide to the right is Dante Keys. Neiswinder in the shotgun. Looks right and not going to be able to complete that one. So once again, a 3 and out from this Plainfield offense who has been absolutely stymied by this Roncalli defense.
Yeah, the Rebels definitely came to play tonight. They have not, gotten off to a typical Rebels start, but they're playing like world beaters tonight. So see if the question is, will Plainfield come up with an answer? And as banged up as they are, that's going to be tough.
Luke Alfrey and Jake Hobson go back deep to return as Hagee's field goal will be fielded at about the, call it 46. It's Hobson. He cuts to the left. He's got a seam up the middle. If he hits it, cut back all the way at the 30 and down to about the 27 before he's finally tackled. So not a good job on the recovery that time from Plainfield.
Yeah, and obviously, definitely the punt return coverage not doing any favors for the Plainfield defense as the Rebels start off, only 27 yards away from taking a 3-possession lead here in the first quarter.
So it's 1st and 10 for Roncalli, starting on the Plainfield 27. 5:14 left to go in the first. Roncalli already with a 2-touchdown lead. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Handoff goes straight ahead to Freeze. Freeze straight up the gut for a gain of, call it 3, maybe 4.
Yeah, Freeze was stuffed for only 1 on his first carry, but he did a lot better that time as we hit the 5-minute mark here in the first quarter, and they're giving him credit for 3.
Strader and Gavin Taylor. Well, check that. Won't be Gavin Taylor as he's checking out of the game.
Yeah, and so let's see if
So it's Luke Alfrey wide to the right. Robbie Strader in the tight end, and Roncalli will take a timeout to get things sorted out. So Bruce Seifries didn't exactly like what he was seeing and calls the timeout, so we'll take a timeout as well and thank some of our sponsors. Stop by and visit American Family Insurance Doug Hawk Agency Incorporated at 704 North Carr Road in Plainfield. You can reach them at 839-9445. Stop in Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 to discuss your insurance needs. For more than 2 decades, Wicker Construction has engaged in building custom homes, remodeling, insurance repair, and handyman services, while exceeding client expectations and delivering projects with professionalism and integrity. Wicker Construction works closely with you, the client, to understand your lifestyle and construction needs. Their services include insurance and repairs and restoration, hailstorm and weather-related repairs, remodeling services, and new home construction. For more information, call Wicker Construction at 839-8353. So, second and call it 7 for Roncalli on their 24. Bunch formation this time. Lone wide receivers Luke Alfrey wide to the right. And prior to the snap, there's a flag. We'll see if that's a penalty against Roncalli. It is a false start, so that'll back Roncalli up 5 yards.
Well, it's certainly welcome. Anything to help the Plainfield defense at this point. That'll bring up a 2nd and 12. And I'll tell you, JP, if the Rebels do get even a field goal here, it would be a 3-possession lead, and that is a very tall order for this young and banged-up Quaker team to overcome.
Yeah, we talked about young and banged up and struggling offensively, trying to find any kind of rhythm is this Plainfield team.
Yeah.
Motion man's Robbie Strader. He goes from the right to the left side. On the pitch out, it's Freeze. Freeze cuts it back to the left, has room to run, gets to the 10, and brought down finally by the last man standing, and that would be Mark Dahm, who made a solid play to prevent the touchdown.
Yeah, it was touchdown-saving play, but nevertheless a first down for Freeze. They're crediting him with 21 yards on that rush. So by far is his best of the night. He has 25 now on 3 carries. 4:21 to go first quarter.
Luke Alfrey goes wide to the right. They'll stick with the same formation with the triple tight end on the right side. Motion man's Robbie Strader. Under center is Gore. Gore will pitch it to Freeze. Flags fly on the play as Freeze bounds ahead to close to the 1 yard line. Did not get in. We'll see what the flags are for.
Second week in a row we have a barrage of flags in the first quarter.
I think last week it was a lot worse because it was almost every single straight offensive possession.
Yeah, that's true. We had 4 of the first 5 plays from scrimmage, and in fact, not quite as bad this week, but still a lot.
So the refs are discussing it. There's 3 different flags on the play, so there might have been more than one penalty on the play.
So let's see. Okay, looks like we're finally going to.
It's a false start against Roncalli. It's declined, and it's also a hold against Roncalli, so that one will be accepted.
That's a big break for the Quakers for sure.
So it'll be first and goal on the 19-yard line for Roncalli. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. In the slots, Luke Alfrey. Wide right is Gavin Taylor. Gore in the shotgun. Freeze stands to his right, takes a snap, fakes it to Gore, looks left, has the one-on-one matchup over there, throwing and broken up, but flags fly.
Yeah, I could not tell from my vantage point since we're way on the other side of the field, I couldn't tell if there was, illegal contact or not.
There was a wide chorus of boos from this Plainfield faithful. They did not agree with the call.
No, they did not.
I shouldn't say call, the flag. They don't know what the call is just
yet.
yet.
Yeah, good point.
For all we know, it could be offensive. I thought both players went straight up for it at the same time, so we'll see what the refs do officially call as they're huddled up discussing it.
Yeah, and it's there's several. There are 4 of them standing there deliberating. Yeah, it is going to be pass interference.
So it's pass interference against Plainfield.
So I guess that'll be half the distance to the goal.
That's a big break for Roncalli, who is looking at first and 19 from first and goal from their own 19. So that'll be half the distance. Or I believe, or is it just 10 yards in high school? It is half the distance because it was the first and goal.
Yeah,
correct.
half the distance, yeah.
Don't know what I'm thinking.
It's okay.
I've been watching too much football recently with the NFL kickoff. That's part of the problem.
Oh, yeah, it happens to the best of us. Me too.
Robbie Strader in the slot. Motion man is Danny Aney. Handoff goes to Freeze on the pitch out, who rushes and plows his head, continues on his feet, ahead to about the 4-yard line before the refs whistle it dead.
So let's see where they mark him. Nevertheless, it'll be second down and goal as we hit the 3:30 mark here. So they're going to give credit. They're going to credit Freeze with 4 yards there, bringing him up to 29 yards on the game already on 4 carries.
So call it 2nd and 5. 3:20 left to go in the first. Roncalli trying to add to their lead, which already stands at 14-0. Luke Alfrey wide right. Once again, tight formation on the line of scrimmage for the Rebels. Gore pitches it out to Freeze. Freeze looks to cut back, but gets swallowed whole on the line of scrimmage by Bryce Biddle. So he might have gotten one on that play, if anything.
Yeah, and so obviously, and by the way, Matt Cunningham 4 or 5 on the season. I looked at the extra point numbers. He's 0-1 on field goals, but basically it would be an extra point from here. So certainly they're within his range as they credit Freeze with 2 there. 3rd and goal at the 2.
Wow, interesting formation for Roncalli. 3 running backs in the backfield. Handoff goes straight ahead to Luke Alfrey. Not sure if he got in.
No, he didn't.
Very interesting formation. Alfrey on the year has 5 rushes for 3 yards. Gets close, but it'll be 4th and inches really to the goal line.
They credit him with 1, and it looks like they are going to go for it. 2:05 to go here in the first quarter. And
what's your thoughts on that, Lek, going for it? This, you already have a dominate 2. I guess you want to get at least through a 3 or 4 touchdown lead before you start.
Well,
not taking those kind of risks.
And we got a quarterback sneak here from Gore. Plainfield's saying he didn't get in. No, he didn't.
So nice
an excellent
goal line stand.
Yeah, excellent there. And it brings some life into this crowd for the first time since the opening kickoff. Well, since the fumble recovery, that is.
We'll see if the Plainfield goal line stand on defense leads to any kind of offense from Plainfield, who will have to go the length of the field if they want to try and get back in there.
To answer your question, I didn't get time to answer your question. I think I would have gone for the field goal there for a simple reason: make it a 3-possession game.
That's my thought on it too.
Yeah,
I was actually kind of surprised.
Yeah.
But I guess that's why we're up here in the booth instead of down on the field coaching.
Yeah, you're right.
Clayton White wide to the left. 2 running backs behind Nicewinder under center. And flags fly. Probably half the distance to close. Clayton White moved early. And Clayton White shakes his head as he'll check out. And Brandon Royer will check in.
And the referee moved the ball about 2 inches back. Since it was half the distance to the goal.
I'm not sure if we moved a centimeter on that one. So same formation, except this time the receiver's wide right. Handoff goes straight ahead. He might be pushed back. And, he's still on his feet. Good run that time. Not sure if it's Tristan Southwood or Jacob Maple on the carry. Hard to see from up here on our vantage point. I think it was actually Coy Anderson. So
yeah, it was Anderson.
Good run that time by Coy Anderson, the little guy, the speedster, getting it done right there on the carry.
Yeah, Coy Anderson, that's his. He had 4 yards on his first carry. That was his second. He got 5, so 2 for 9 so far. Good start to Anderson, who got off to a very slow start last week before turning it on, about the middle of the third quarter and getting some nice gains.
So after the gain of 5, it brings out 2nd and 5 for this Plainfield offense. 2 receivers go wide to the left. Niswinder under center. Once again, a split back formation. And off goes this time straight ahead to Southwood, who gets swallowed whole. Great penetrating tackle that time from this Roncalli defense and Jordan Sinkhorn.
Well, they Anderson did a good job on the first play, as they give Southwood credit with -1, by the way. But Anderson, did a good job just getting them away from the danger zone, from getting a safety, and now Southwood plows forward for 2 more.
I formation, Dante Keys wide right. Pitch out goes to Maple, who bobbles it, and that bobble is going to cost him as he gets hit in the backfield for a loss.
And that means that Hagee will be punting from the back of the end zone.
We see that sometimes in a lot of different football games. The receiver starts to run before he catches it. It's not that much different when it's a pitch out.
Yeah, you're right. And here we go. This time runs out here in the first quarter. We head to the second quarter with Roncalli leading your Plainfield Quakers 14-0.
So while we have that timeout as they switch sides of the field, let's go and thank some more of our sponsors. And we'll start with Julia Burbridge. With Julia Burbridge and Bud Green from Remax Centerstone, you can consider it sold as a team. Julia and Bud have over 20 years of combined commercial and residential sales experience. Their team effort has brought many large-scale commercial projects to Plainfield, and Julia is continued leader in a residential sales across the county. Call Julia today at 317-754-5057. Let her make your next home purchase or selling experience as stress-free as possible. The Niagara Bottle Company, we want to give them a special thanks. Open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For more information on how they can get to work for you, please call 909-230-5000, extension 5912. The Beacon Sign Company specializes in local high school sports and event signage needs. This is their 12th year of supporting the Red Pride football program. They are located at 9305 East U.S. Highway 36 in Avon. You can call 272-2388 for all your signage needs, or stop by Monday through Friday, 9 to 6.
Well, it turns out we're still in the first quarter after all. Roncalli called a timeout with a 1/10 of a second left just so they could have Hagee punting into the wind. So interesting timeout use there by Coach Cyphers for Roncalli.
How do you know it's to get him into the wind?
That's what they said anyway.
Oh, okay. Flags fly, and we'll see if that's against Roncalli. It would be into the wind. Wind coming a little bit from the north, but it's a false start, so we have the distance to the goal against Plainfield. And once again, there'll be pretty much no time left on the clock for much. I would imagine that if you're Hagee, you just kind of want to try and pooch punt it and make sure it's not blocked or bobbled. Does get it away, and it'll go out of bounds. So Roncalli will have excellent field position to start the second, but give Hagee credit. That could have been a lot worse than what it was.
Yeah, it could have easily been a recovery for a touchdown. So, maybe the Quakers' defense will pull through like they did on the last time when, of course, a Roncalli drive died there at the Plainfield 1.
So at the end of the first, it's 14-0 in favor of Roncalli. Roncalli has the ball when we come back, and we'll have excellent field position. You're listening to AudioSportsOnline.com coverage of Plainfield High School football. The Three Pines Brew Pub is an excellent place for great food. They offer craft drink selections brewed on site. Features a family-friendly atmosphere and would make a great destination for your next dining experience. They are located at 5020 Cambridge Way in Plainfield. For more information about menu and drink selections, call 829-1000. The hours are Sunday and Monday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., Tuesday and Thursday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 12:30. Carey Digital is a full-service, state-of-the-art digital printing from business cards to banners. They have been a multi-year provider of senior posters at the south end of the field. Their address is 2701 Fortune Circle East in Indianapolis. They're open weekdays from 7 to 7. You can call them directly at 317-227-0220 for more information. Welcome back to Plainfield High School, where Plainfield trails Roncalli 14-0. Roncalli has it in great field position after a little bit of a bobble on the punt by Hagee. It'll be 1st and 10 on the 12 for Roncalli. Gore in the shotgun, takes it, and he'll hand off to Freeze. It cuts over the left side, and he'll be into the end zone. So to open up the very first play of the second quarter, Roncalli continues to extend their lead, now up by 3 scores, pending the PAT attempt.
Well, there's that 3-possession lead I talked about, and a 12-yard rush there by Nate Freeze. And I'll tell you, 2 of the 3 Roncalli scoring drives this game were one play. That one and then the 80-yard pass from Gore to Strader.
So Cunningham on for the PAT attempt. It is down and looks good.
Well, come to think of it, all 3, because the other one, all 3 Roncalli scoring drives were one play because the other one was the interception return. Mm-hmm. So, nevertheless, on the first play of the quarter, the Rebels go up 21-0.
Well, as we get set to kick it off, let's go and thank some more of our sponsors. If you're a business owner with or without employees, you're probably wondering about your payroll. What about taxes, child support, auditing, Social Security? It can be a bit overwhelming, but we've got the answer for you. The Payroll Department Incorporated. The Payroll Department Incorporated can help put your mind at ease where all these problems are concerned. Locally owned and operated for over 20 years, call today at 852-2568 or stop by the Payroll Department Incorporated at 701 North Green Street in Brownsburg. We also want to thank some more of our other sponsors, including Dugan Chevrolet, Dugan Sports Performance, Jimmy John's, for sponsoring tonight's broadcast. Thank you for supporting Plainfield football. Cunningham on to kick it away. Back to return for Plainfield is going to be Zach Archer and Clayton White. Cunningham set to kick. We get the whistles. And the kick is high and very, very short. Fair caught at the 31. That's a very smart play by Clayton. Well, check that. That wasn't Clayton White. That was number 21, Seth Knuckles. Very, very heads-up play just to kind of fair catch it. That way you don't make any kind of big mistakes.
Yeah, and certainly you can't afford any mistakes, and then down 21-0, even when you're just a few seconds into the second quarter here. Quakers definitely need to get something going here.
I formation for the Quakers. 2 receivers to the left. Nicewinder under center. Motion man is Southwood takes it ahead for a gain of, call it 4, maybe 5. Trying to see who the man in motion was. Number 10, Gavin Ritter. I'm wondering if something happened to Clayton White because we have not seen him on the field for a little bit. He's not actually in the return game.
Yeah, well, certainly they can't afford anything more to go wrong.
So I formation once again. Coy Anderson goes wide right, and they hand off to Southwood as he plows ahead and trying to continue to plow his feet. Get ahead for, call it a gain of 2, maybe 3, and then bring out third and call it 3.
Well, at least they avoided a 3rd and long as they credit Southwood with a gain of 3. He now is 6 for 22 on the game.
Brandon Royer wide to the right. Dante Keys and Gavin Ritter wide left. Split backs. Fakes the handoff. Nicewinder looks. Has pressure. Being pursued, and he'll throw it away smartly.
Nicewinder now 0 for 4 on the game. So definitely the passing offense non-existent so far for the Quakers. They definitely need to change that. So 10:38 to go here in the second quarter. Your Plainfield Quakers trail the 8-time state champion and currently 10th-ranked Roncalli Rebels by a score of 21-0. And so there's a penalty. I believe it's intentional grounding, which the Rebels have declined.
How was that grounding? The ball went out of bounds.
I don't know. But the penalties decline
Like
nevertheless.
if you look right here at the 40, I'm not sure if you can see it on our camera feed. There's a blonde high schooler standing right there near the 40-yard line. She had to duck her head because the ball was right over her head. High kick by Hagee, going back all the way to the 10 and still backpedaling and picking it up. And flags wave once again. Oh, it's fair caught by Luke Alfrey.
So now let's see if the Rebels will manage to take a 4-possession lead here in the first half. So 10:30 to go here, second quarter. And what's so far been a very one-sided game. The Rebels scoring 3 touchdowns, all on drives of one possession. All on drives of one play. It's very rare I've ever seen anything like that. 36 years of watching football on any level.
So Plainfield will try and get the defensive stop they need, down 3 touchdowns.
One good thing is that it was a nice punt by Hagee, certainly a lot better than the last one.
Punt. I'd like to know what the hang time was on that. Fortunately, I don't keep those kind of stats.
Yeah, nor do I.
On the rollouts, Casey Gore is being pursued, gets a nice hit in the field, but Danny Aney takes it and gets it ahead to about the 28 before he's brought down. Tackle made that time by Hunter Lyford.
Well, Casey Gore, now 4 for 4 on the game, including that touchdown, and they're going to credit him with 13 yards.
He had to take a big hit on that one, though.
And that was Aney's first reception of the game, good for 13 yards.
Strader and Gavin Taylor go wide to the right. Wide to the left is Luke Alfrey. Gore in the pistol. He'll hand off to Freeze right up ahead. He plows ahead to about the 37 before he's brought down. Tackle made that time by Dayton Clemens.
Who is the ball carrier there?
Freeze.
Okay. Yeah, Freeze certainly been the go-to guy for the rushing offense so far. Already 7 for 49 and even 7 a carry.
It's very interesting. If you look at Freeze's name, it's spelled Fries.
Yep.
But it's pronounced Freeze. Luke Alfrey wide left. 2 receivers to the other side, to the far side of the field. Casey Gore. Motion man is Alfrey. And the handoff goes straight ahead. Nice run that time. Up ahead to the 41 by
Couldn't tell
Michael Otley, the 5'10 sophomore. So great little run that time by, or check that was Jake Hobson on the run, 5'7 senior.
And they're going to give him credit with 7. That's his first carry of the game. So 9:14 to go. Roncalli 21, Plainfield 0.
Alfrey wide left, 1 receiver far right. Alfrey in motion. Gore fakes the pitch out to him and will actually pitch off to Strader. Straight ahead to the 50, maybe the 51. So great run that time by Strader.
Yeah, of course, Strader already had the 80-yard touchdown reception. Now that's his second rush of the game, and he's going to be just shy of the first down. They're giving him credit for 9. So 8:36 to go now here at Plainfield, second quarter. 21-0 Roncalli.
If you're Plainfield's defense, you started the game with a very, very nice fumble and recovery, so you're trying to get something like that to get any kind of momentum in your favor so you can get something going here in the second quarter.
Yeah, you had that, and you had the goal line stand, so there have been a couple of good spots for the Plainfield defense.
Gore to pass, and off the fingertips of Danny Aney. Plainfield had a chance for an interception there as the Aney was unable to haul it in and had the ball popped up off his fingertips. But Plainfield is just not able to capitalize, and they'll bring out 3rd and 1.
So that's Gore's first incompletion after 3 completions, including that 80-yard touchdown pass. His first touchdown pass of the season after 4 interceptions.
And give credit to Gore. I'm really mildly surprised at some of the numbers he's able to put up thus far. Coming into this game, only 23 of 53 for 228 yards, so 0 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. You don't really get impressed by those numbers, but
no,
he's been
not at all.
impressive so far here today. Hobson on the carry, has a seam, gets it up to the 39 before he's finally brought down. There is a flag on the play. Dayton Clemens was the final man to bring him down.
Well, it'll be a first down if it counts, but let's see as the officials deliberate. But, yeah, you can be sure that Coach Cyphers saw what Alex Favorite of Mooresville did here last week against the Quakers, and now trying to, exploit the Quakers' passing defense, and so far he's done that.
Very few fast passing plays from Roncalli, but they've all worked really well.
Yeah,
the flag was thrown near the 47-yard line, so that's generally in the realm of holding against the offense.
And sure enough, it is holding against
on the second
offense.
level. So
that'll
bring it back.
That'll wipe out that gain on 3rd and 1. So now all of a sudden we've got.
So it's 10 yards from the spot of the foul. So it'll be 3rd and call it 8.
So 8:05 to go now.
Alfrey wide left. Casey Gore in the shotgun. 2 receivers to the right. Looking to throw. Finds his man in the middle of the field. Nice little cut move in the middle of the field. And he's finally brought down. That's Robbie Strader there on the reception. Tackle made that time by Tevin Tomlinson. Tomlinson, the junior outside linebacker.
No, it's coming back.
Another hold.
So 2 consecutive offensive holding plays. Huge break for the Quakers. Both times wiped out, a big gain.
Well, that's why it's part of the reason why it could have been a big gain.
Yep, that's right.
So the Rebels will once again take a little bit of a walk backwards. And really, if you're Plainfield with 7:50 left to go in the third, a great opportunity here to try and get off the field on 3rd and call it 20.
3rd and 20, yeah. 3rd and 20 at the 31.
So Gore in the shotgun, fakes the handoff, sets up the screen on the left side to Gavin Taylor, who's swallowed up whole that time. Tackle coming up to make that tackle was Seth Knuckles. So that'll force the punt for Roncalli with the clock still rolling at the 7:24 mark.
Well, there's no reason to take any chances there. Just throw the screen pass, see if you can get something going. But you got a three touchdown lead. So
well, we see Strader take one of those little screen passes to the house. So you never know.
Yeah. So it was a good conservative low risk play. So 4th and 15 now as the Rebels set to punt.
Strader on to punt it away. Very low spiraling punt. Fair caught at the 36 by Coy Anderson.
Only a 28-yard punt, so Quakers get decent field position to start here. 6:53 to go. Desperately need to get something going before the half is over. Especially, remember, Roncalli gets the ball first to start off the second half.
So Plainfield comes out almost in a hurry up as quickly as they came out of that huddle.
Yeah.
Gavin Ritter wide right. Dante Keys wide left. I formation, Nicewinder under center. 8, maybe 9 men in the box for Roncalli. And whistles blow.
Another flag.
It'll be a false start against Plainfield, so that'll back them up.
Well, I'll tell you, Roncalli is known for, like a lot of the Catholic schools, Roncalli's known to have a great contingency of road fans at all their games, and they certainly do. They've got the visiting stands, Yeah, well over, I'd say probably about 70% full across the field from us.
2 receivers either side for Plainfield. I formation once again, Nicewinder under center. Every player for Roncalli is up in the box. And they will run. Handoff goes to the left side. Not sure who had the carry. It looked like it might have even been. It's number 28. I don't have that on my roster.
So, I will have to just, put number 28. So, gosh, that's happened to me in past years. It has not happened to me this season, though.
We're hearing it's Foster. I don't know a first name yet. Two receivers either side for Plainfield. Handoff goes straight ahead. Plowing ahead once again for Plainfield to the first down marker and beyond was once again Foster.
So two carries, 17 plays. Do you see a Foster on?
I do not.
Okay. Dylan Foster.
Dylan Foster. I got to write that down right now.
Yeah, it's the whole topic of conversation here in the press box right now.
We're all just wondering who it is. So at least I don't feel like a complete idiot.
Yeah, the Ron Cully staff too.
And once again, oh, look at that spin move in the open field. Refusing to go down is Foster, and they plow
He's
ahead
got a
for
first.
another
He's got a
down.
first.
Foster, whoever this guy is showing some life for Plainfield.
Where has he been all season?
And this crowd is loving it. I'm loving it.
Yeah,
what a great run that time. A great effort.
Presumably nobody, in the stands knows who the guy is.
Oh, they'll know after today, that's for sure.
Yep.
Once again, I formation, two receivers either side. Jacob Maple now the running back in there, and Nice Wonder looks to throw, but another flag thrown.
Well, you see situations over the years where some guy will come off the bench, and do a great job as this call goes against
I would imagine
Plainfield.
It's probably a freshman that doesn't have, just got assigned a random number.
That could be, but, I heard about, I remember Marshall Falk in his first college game at San Diego State coming off the bench the second quarter, scoring 7 touchdowns, rushing for 386 yards. I remember Jeremy Lin coming off the bench in that game and becoming an instant star with the Knicks, but at least their names were listed in the program.
Well,
so
that just could mean we need to do more research.
Yeah.
Brandon Royer wide right. Motion man is Dante Keys Gavin Ritter from left to right. Nice winder hands off straight ahead, and Southwood bouncing off the tacklers. I think he might have had forward progress up to the 46, and that's exactly where they mark it. So that'll bring out 3rd and 6, and Dylan Foster back into the game.
Yep, I'm glad we know his name now. And they're giving Southwood credit for 2 yards there. So he's and now we'll see
if I had to guess, I'd say he's a big load. He's close to probably about 5, call it maybe 10 or 11 and 230. Bouncing off tacklers once again and plowing ahead for a first down. He was not going to be denied to the first down. He knew exactly where he had to get to.
Well, the obvious question is, why didn't they go to this guy sooner? Nevertheless, he has rejuvenated this team.
We'll have to ask Doug Edens, do you know who Dylan Foster is? No clue.
Already 4 carries, 31 yards, unquestionably,
Well, I know at the half I'm going to find out.
Yes. Yeah, you can do that while I, read the rundown of the scores.
2 receivers still left. Once again, Dylan Foster in the I formation. Nice winder under center. Nice winder fakes the handoff this time. Has Rhyme to throw. Looks downfield. Has a man. I think he wanted to throw straight ahead to Alec Waugh. Just didn't have the arm to throw it as far as Waugh had ran for it. And so it was kind of hard to see who the pass was actually intended for.
Yeah, but nevertheless, 0 for 5 on the game now for Colin Nicewander. He had completed just under 50% of his passes on the season. So,
but you have to like the play call. You've been running, getting these first downs.
Yeah. It was a good call. Just didn't work.
2 receivers either side. Dante Keys, the motion man from right to left. Dylan Foster once again takes the handoff, and this time he's met by 2 different Roncalli defenders. Tackled by David Schott, 6'2", 222 senior. So Dylan Foster wouldn't quite get there that time.
And nevertheless, he got positive yardage again. They give him credit for 2, which gives him 30. It makes him 5 for 33 on the game so far, all in this quarter, all on this possession, in fact.
So Foster will check out and get a little bit of a rest as he hears it from his teammates on the side who come over to pat him on the back. Nice winder in the pistol. Well, check that. It's now a shotgun. And off his fake to Southwood. Sets up Coy Anderson on the screen, who bobbles it. He'll fall on it and retain possession for Plainfield, but that'll bring out 4th down.
Yeah, Anderson had to get down. He had to get down a little too much. It was a catchable ball, but probably should have been thrown a little bit higher. And now we'll see what the Quakers do. 4th and 7 at the Roncalli 38. You're in the neighborhood of Hagee's range. It would be a 55-yard field goal. He nearly connected
I
for
think
54
they're actually
last
going
week.
for it.
Not much to lose at this point.
Well, you're in that realm where if you punt it, yeah, you can pin them deep, but you're down points.
Yeah.
And you're out of field goal range. So, Nicewinder will take it. Fakes to Coy Anderson, keeps it himself, has pressure, and he's going to throw. And I'm not sure if it was hauled in by Dante Keys. It won't be a first down anyway. And it's waved off. So
0 for 7 so far for Nicewinder as the Rebels take over on downs. Still Dylan Foster, 5 carries, 34 yards, adding some spark to that drive.
Add some spark to the press box, too.
Yeah.
Who? At least I wasn't the only one.
Yeah, it was all of us, including the Roncalli crew.
I think one of the coaches finally said it from above us where they're taping game film.
Yeah.
Because not even the PA dresser knew who it was. So Roncalli takes over after the turnover on downs. They're up 21-0, 3:16 left to go in the second. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right for Casey Gore in the shotgun. Handoff goes to Freeze, who cuts over to the right side. He's running a very, very long distance to only pick up 3 yards.
Yeah, he's one of those people. Freeze is one of those people who reminds me of Coy Anderson in that he just will run 100 yards to gain 1 if that's what he has to do. He's constantly taking around the corners as far as he can go.
2 receivers go to the left for Roncalli. Tight formation with the tight end.
I was giving him credit for 3.
Pistol formation with the running back behind him. Handoff goes to Freeze, who cuts over to the right side. He'll be met near the marker. I think they'll spot it shy of it by about 2 yards. So it'll be 3rd and call it 2. So if you're just joining us, Plainfield trying to get something going here as they have not been able to get much. They did get some life from a no-name player named Dylan Foster.
At first was literally no name.
Where does it say number 28? That's about all we can figure out. So 3rd down, pitch out goes to Freeze, who gets ahead to the first down and more. Still on his feet up ahead to the 49-yard line of Plainfield across the 50. So that'll move the chains with 2:20 left to go, and they'll respot it, and the clock will continue to roll. Want to check in on that Avon-Brownsburg game, the big game, rivalry game. In the first, it's 7-7 tie, so that's a game we'll keep an eye on. Obviously, we have that game on another channel on audiosportsonline.net. Had to work this one, but I can't wait to go home and watch the archive footage of that one on Audio Sports Online when I get home.
Oh, it should be a dandy, yeah.
And Plainfield had a chance to pick it off on the interception. Another pass intended for Ani, and just unable to haul it in off his fingertips.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, speaking of Brownsburg, though, their junior running back sensation, Tokes Akronabadi.
I call him Beast Mode on the Hendricks County Sports Show. He's Beast Mode this season.
Yeah, he is, and he's only a junior. He is going to be a big-time college football player, Division I.
He can get 2,000 yards this season, the way he's paced.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
He's going to be awesome. If there's one running back I've ever called who's going to make the NFL, so far he's the one.
Gore drops, pressure in his face. Nice reception that time, and did he drop it? He did. So a great play by Dante Clemens to break it up as him and Robbie Strader went down to the ground together, but the ball was not held in.
So 2 consecutive incompletions by Gore, and all of a sudden it's 3rd and 10. So 1:52 to go. The Quakers desperately trying to prevent the Rebels from getting a 4-possession lead going into the half, especially since they get the ball first to start the second half.
That would be heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So it's 3rd and 10 on the Plainfield 49 with 1:52 left to go in the second quarter. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right for Gore in the shotgun. He's joined back there by Freeze. Gore takes it, throws on the rocket.
Incomplete.
And it's incomplete. Great defense that time from Luke Miller.
So 3 consecutive incompletions, and the Quakers will get the ball, probably not in good field position, but they'll get the ball with over a minute and a half to go and 2 timeouts. So they still have time to do something. They still have time to do something on offense before they get to the locker room. Although without an effective passing offense, that is going to be a big challenge.
Coy Anderson stands at his own 12, now moving up to the 15-yard line. Strader on to punt. His punts have been very short, and that one's no different. That one takes a bounce and will roll all the way to about the 26, 27-yard line. So once again, a very, very short kick for Ron Colley on the punt.
So 28, 1st and 10 at the 28 when the Quakers take over, 1:38 to go. Still have a shot to do something here. You can bet we'll be seeing a lot of Dylan Foster on this drive. He was 5 for 34.
Well, after you get that kind of momentum, it's hard not to.
Yeah. And plus, obviously, with Maple apparently, not being very effective so far. Hold on. Hold that
Bunch
thought.
formation for Nicewinder. He pitches it out to Dylan Foster. Cuts to the left. Or check that. That's Maple.
Got a flag.
And a flag down. I don't think he got there. Be interesting seeing where, based on where the flag was thrown, what the call is. Typically, that's in the realm of holding, but there was nobody out there to hold, so we'll see what the call is.
We got 3 of the officials deliberating now. Still no signal, though. Still deliberating.
Well, it's against Plainfield because they checked with Ron Colley if they want to accept it or not. It is a hold against the offense.
Well, even though you got 2 timeouts left, and by the way, Ron Colley has 1. At this point, the ball backed up to the 18, you might just want to play for the second half at this point. Well, what do you think, JP?
Well, I mean, with 1:32 left to go, you still have 2 timeouts. Ron Colley has 1 timeout.
Yeah.
And they're going to try and, back you up as much as they can because if they get the ball back, they.
No, I don't mean down it, but I mean just be very conservative. If you do a rush and he gets you first down, then great. But
handoff goes to Dylan Foster, and this time he doesn't get much. He's bounced back. He's trying to get there, but I don't think he got much. I think he got maybe a gain of 1 on forward progress.
Yeah, that's his smallest gain so far.
Well, after a couple of big plays, I'm sure Ron Colley keyed into it pretty quickly.
Yeah. So, yeah. We're going to give him credit for 1 there.
Dante Keys wide to the right. Gavin Ritter wide left. I formation. Dylan Foster in the backfield. Handoff goes to Southwood, and he doesn't get much. So I think that conservative play is in play here for Plainfield.
Yeah.
And I think we'll try and run it down and hope Ron Colley doesn't take the timeout.
So they're going to give Southwood credit for 3 there. He's 8 for 27 on the game.
And Ron Colley does take the timeout.
Yeah, they want 1 more shot. So they just have to, of course, then again, if assuming that Plainfield does not get the first down here, they'll be able to run the clock down, not all the way, but very close, so that Ron Colley would have very little time left.
Well, let's take a moment to thank some of our sponsors with the timeout. Thanks to our friends at the Hendricks County Flyer that have helped make tonight's video webcast possible. Please check them out online as well as watch tonight's game at flyergroup.com. Motion 360 by Hendricks Regional Health provides care for the way you were meant to move. We care for every muscle, bone, and joint in your body to get you back to the activities you love. Get more information at mymotion360.org. And established in 1882 as Harris Bank and owned by BMO Financial Group since 1984, BMO Harris Bank has grown to become one of the largest banks in the Midwest, serving personal, commercial, and affluent customers. They are located in Plainfield at 2609 East Main. For more information, call them at 839-3501.
Well, back here at Plainfield, your Quakers are down to probably their last play, offensive play of the half. They're down 21-0 with 51.5 seconds to go. The ball on the Roncalli 20.
3rd and 17. 3 receivers out there. Handoff goes straight ahead. And by Dylan Foster, I believe. He didn't get much, if anything, that time.
That's Coy Anderson.
Coy Anderson, excuse me. Seen a lot of different running touches for this Plainfield team thus far. We've had Dylan Foster, who we weren't sure whose name it was, Coy Anderson, Jacob Maple, who's getting his first action back. Bryce Biddle had his first carry of the season, and Tristan Southwoods also had a couple carries.
Yeah, and Anderson has been utilized a lot less than I expected after his fairly big second half last week. Only 3 carries so far tonight here in the first half.
Well, when I talked to Coach Woodard, he really likes what Coy Anderson brings to the defensive side of the ball and doesn't want to tire him out too much by playing both sides. He did mention that to me this week.
Yeah, I guess with Foster, now playing, I guess his first varsity game, and then with as Plainfield takes their second time out with 9.6 seconds to go. I guess the thinking is that, you want to give more carries to Maple since he's back, although Maple so far has not done much. He's 4 carries minus 4 yards.
I want to see more. I want to see Dylan Foster get more carries.
Yeah, certainly Foster, the star of the game so far for Plainfield, 6 for 35.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, that was it.
Rhodes and Kinsley LLP are CPAs and financial advisors in business since 1990. They handle individual and business tax and accounting work located at 8315 West 10th Street, Indianapolis. You can call 271-1040 to set up an appointment today. CopyCo Office Solutions is a local Xerox dealership. They sell and service copiers and printers and provide a wide variety of technology solutions, providing and supporting all your business technology needs. CopyCo is located at 2920 Fortune Circle West, Suite C. Call 241-5800 or stop by Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. So on 4th and 17, Hagee will be on to punt it away. High snap. Ooh, and Hagee gets down. Might be a flag throw on that. No indication yet. And Roncalli has a decent return, and that'll be the end of it. They do have roughing the kicker in high school. I'm surprised there was no flag thrown as Hagee took a shot after he got that one away. But either way, at the end of 2 quarters, Roncalli is dominating this one 21-0. We'll take a very, very brief timeout. We'll come back and review the first half for you, talk about the second half adjustments that need to be made by both these teams, and we'll also review some of the scores from around Central Indiana. You're listening to AudioSportsOnline.com coverage of Plainfield High School football. Welcome back to Plainfield High School, where the Roncalli Rebels are up over Plainfield 21-0 at the half, but there's a lot to cover in that first half. The defense for Plainfield, despite giving up really 14 of those 21 points, has looked fairly sharp with the goal line stand, a fumble recovery, and also offensively for Plainfield, they got a possible star in the making.
Yeah, definitely. All three Roncalli scoring drives were just one play, including the interception return. The rushing defense in particular has done some very good things, as they did last week in the loss to Mooresville. And obviously it looks like we've got a star in the making here in Dylan Foster, who is so obscure. He didn't even he wasn't even listed in the media guide or on the roster, and had the entire press box in an uproar wondering who this number 28 was, but he came off the bench in the middle of the second quarter, gave some spark to Plainfield, got the crowd into the game. 6 rushes, 35 carries, so very promising start for that young man.
And we've talked to some of the coaches up here in the press box. From what they know, we don't know 100% for sure, but it is possible he's a sophomore. Came out 3 weeks ago and said, "Coach, I want to play football." Had a couple of stellar practices, and he's out there right now, and teammates loved him.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know, what kind of history does he have in football? Has he played in Little League? Did he play in middle school?
That would be very interesting, because, when I tried out for football, I couldn't stand it because I never played before.
Yeah,
I didn't know where
tough
to play.
Although, I remember last year the Detroit Lions, in an unusual move, they signed rugby great Carlin Isles to their practice squad. I don't know if he's back with them this year. And he, by the way, if you've ever seen Carlin Isles, he is a speed demon. He has unbelievable lightning speed. But even so, rugby, at least, running the ball in rugby is similar to running the ball in football. So at least he had some semblance of experience.
Yeah, there was a lot of times where Roncalli defenders had him look to be dead in the water, but he was still able to plow ahead for a lot of big gains. And really had a very, very solid first half statistically. Would you like to get in some of those stats?
Certainly. First of all, scoring recap. Roncalli opened the scoring with 7:30 to go in the first quarter when Casey Gore connected with Robbie Strader, 80 yards for a touchdown pass. Matt Cunningham kicked the extra point to make the score 7-0. Then with 6:06 to go in the first quarter, a pass from Colin Nieswander was intercepted and returned 15 yards for a touchdown by Jordan Sinkhorn. Cunningham's extra point made it 14-0. And then on the first play of the second quarter, Nate Freese, who's had a very big game overall, rushed 12 yards for the touchdown, and Cunningham's extra point brought us to our current score of 21-0. Individual statistics for the game, first of all, for the leading Roncalli Rebels, starting quarterback Casey Gore has completed 4 of 8 passes for 112 yards and 1 touchdown. His leading receiver is Robbie Strader, who has 2 receptions for 94 yards, including that touchdown. Then Danny Aney has 1 reception for 13 yards, and Gavin Taylor 1 for 5 yards. On the ground, Nick Freese leads the way with 10 rushes for 62 yards and 1 touchdown. Robbie Strader, 2 rushes for 8 yards. Jake Hudson, 1 for 7. Luke Alfie, 1 for 1. And Casey Gore, 1 for 0. For your Plainfield Quakers, starting quarterback Colin Nieswander is 0 for 7 on the game, so obviously there are no receiving statistics to report. For rushing, Dylan Foster, the man of the hour for the Quakers, 6 rushes for 35 yards. Tristan Southwood, 8 for 27. Coy Anderson, 3 for 9. Bryce Biddle, his first carry of the season, 1 for -1, and Jacob Maple returning after missing 2 games due to injury, 4 for -4.
Well, those are the first half statistics, and they're brought to you by the Avon Dental Center. Avon Dental Center has provided custom-made mouth guards to the football program for the 2nd consecutive year and are celebrating their 20th year in business. They're located at 7517 Beechwood Center Road, Suite 100 in Avon, and can be reached at 272-8100. So, when you look at it, not necessarily the best game ever for Plainfield, but there's, as we talked about, a lot of positives to take away from that first half.
Oh, definitely. And, you'd take away those 3, like I said, all 3 scoring drives were 1 play. If you take away those 3 plays, I mean, it could very well be 0-0 right now. Of course, it's possible that on some of those drives, that had those scoring plays not taken place, maybe Roncalli would have scored later. But in general, the Plainfield has done a lot of good things defensively. Now, offensively, they have struggled this game like they've done all season. Although, like I said, Dylan Foster gave them a lot of spark in that second quarter. So we'll have to see if that momentum carries over to the third quarter. What I would tell the kids right now, if I were Brian Woodard, is not to panic. Just take it one possession at a time. The main thing, try to force the Rebels 3 and out on this first possession of the second half, and then just get a drive going. Just try to get a score, and then just try to keep your defense strong the rest of the game. Don't give up any more big plays, and you never know what can happen.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the scores from around the state, and we'll start at the big game. The Avon-Brownsburg game still at a 7-all tie at the half, so keep an eye on that one. Batesville leads Rushville 21-6. Beech Grove and Cecina in a very, very close matchup, 16-15 in the second. West Lafayette leads Benton Central 42-7 in the second. Rebuff Jesuit over Zionsville right now, 14-3 in the second. Another little bit of a Hendricks County matchup as Clinton Central leads Cascade 19-0 in the second. Cathedral and Chittard has been postponed. Not really too sure why, but that one's been postponed. Ben Davis leads Center Grove 14-0. Ben Davis having one heck of a year if they can continue to keep it up. Looks like they might have a good shot of running the table. Tri-Central leads Clinton Prairie 22-0 and the second. Decatur Central and Martinsville all tied up at 21. Another little mid-state HCC game going on right there at the half. Fishers leads Hamilton Southeastern 21-3. Hamilton Southeastern looked to be very, very solid early on in the season, barely losing that Carmel game and then dominating North Central, but they've struggled against Avon, and now looks like they're struggling also against Fishers tonight. Franklin is trailing Whiteland 28-10 at the half. Greensburg is trailing Lawrenceburg 7-0 in the first. Greenwood, who this Plainfield team plays next week, is leading by 10 against Mooresville in the second. Heritage Christian and Lutheran all tied up at 7 in the second quarter. Warren Central is dominating Lawrence Central 28-3 at the half. And the second quarter, Tech is up big against Manual 35-0. And looking for more Central Indiana scores. Carmel leads Pike 28-7 at the half. How about that Pike-Ben Davis game? Did you get a chance to see any of that, Leck?
No, I didn't, but, I know that, who ended up winning, by the way?
Ben Davis was able to pull it out.
Okay, because I remember.
It was a gun show. Pike had to come from behind to try and tie it up. They were down almost 35 points at one point in the game, and then it got postponed due to lightning, so it went into a Saturday game. But Ben Davis was able to pull out the W. It was a very, very wild weekend for them.
Okay. Yeah, it was an incredible story, and I didn't, that to come back for, especially in a high school game, only 48 minutes. You said they were 35 down.
35 down.
That's
against Ben Davis.
Is that some kind of record to come back from that far down? Or?
I'm not really too sure what the record was, but
typically you don't see comebacks that big or anywhere, but especially at the high school level. But great story, nevertheless.
This week, Pike's trailing Carmel 28-7. So Pike, despite being one of the better teams in the state, having to take two of the best teams in the state, and Carmel and Ben Davis in back-to-back weeks. That's got to be tough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And of course, that's life in the MIC for you. The second toughest high school conference in the country, according to USA Today. I remember last year. I was just joking that there was some team that was 3-4 in the MIC. I said 3 well, I was only half joking. I said 3-4 in the MIC is the equivalent of 7-0 anywhere else, and that is no exaggeration, by the way. And another score, just from a personal standpoint, my alma mater, Madison, being surprisingly competitive with Jeffersonville at the half. The Red Devils lead the Cubs 14-0, and I mention that not only because Madison's my alma mater, but 2 years ago. Madison got its first victory over Jeffersonville in 36 tries,
So
and it was by forfeit.
We're talking about Madison over by 421 and 62.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my alma mater. And they won their first game in 36 tries against Jeffersonville, and it was only retroactively awarded to them by forfeit because Jeffersonville used an illegal player in the game.
Did you hear about the Kentucky player that was talking about beating up Florida this weekend when those two teams faced off? Kentucky's never beat Florida in like 20.
It says 86.
Years.
86, yeah. So it's 27, yeah. Well, he better Kentucky better win, or he's going to look like a major idiot. Of course, Kentucky, football has a long history of embarrassing moments. Oh, I know, yeah.
Not their basketball program.
Well, do you remember the Bluegrass Miracle?
I do not.
Is in 2002.
I remember they used to have a big quarterback, but
Jared Lorenzen, it was when they had him, and he actually was Eli Manning's backup on the Giants team that won the Super Bowl, ruining the Patriots' undefeated season.
Was he?
Yeah.
I thought it was Sorgi at the time.
No, it was later.
Okay.
But anyway, though,
you're a factoid of knowledge that I am not.
Well, I'm from, I grew up watching Louisville TV stations, so I'm really familiar with UK athletics. In fact, down in that part of the country, when you talk about the United Kingdom, you can't say the UK or people think you're talking about the University of Kentucky. But anyway, though, Kentucky took the lead over LSU with a few seconds to go. It was tied. Then they kicked a field goal to go in the lead, and then the fans went out and started tearing down one of the goalposts. And then LSU won the game on the last play of the game on a Hail Mary. And for several minutes, Kentucky fans didn't realize what had happened and continued partying in the other end zone.
So kind of like the Stanford big old play that everyone reviews every now and then, the Stanford band play.
Yeah, exactly. Also, speaking of scores from last weekend, I got to congratulate the Harrison Raiders beating Logansport 40-14, ending their 38-game losing streak. So a change of conference going from the Hoosier Crossroads to the North Central. Really making things a lot easier for the Raiders.
Well, I do want to talk about two other scores also going on. Danville is leading Tri-West 6-0 at the half. Tri-West has one heck of a good quarterback, so I'm sure they will find a way to try and rally in that one. And Noblesville is up over Westfield, another HCC matchup, 10-6 at the half as we get set for the third quarter.
Yeah, this is actually the first week of where we have a full slate of conference games in the HCC because of the three defections of the Tippecanoe County schools, Harrison, McCutcheon, and Jefferson. All those teams have been, loading up on a lot of non-conference opponents. So
it's funny. We talked about that on the McDonald's Hendricks County Sports Show last week because there's so many of the HCC schools playing, Harrison, McCutcheon, and those Lafayette schools in non-conference play this year. Because they're not part of the conference, but they're still on the schedule.
Zionsville,
keep those old rivalries going.
Yeah, some of them. Zionsville's kept McCutcheon on the schedule. Harrison kept Westfield on the schedule. But Brownsburg, on the other hand, they picked three fresh new opponents. They picked Lawrence North, Franklin, and there's somebody else. There's somebody local. I don't remember who though.
I can look at their schedule.
Okay, yeah, good idea. But, there's a see, why is Carrie Fisher trending?
I'd have no clue.
Most people remember her as Princess Leia. I remember her best as the mystery woman from the Blues Brothers.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, Leck.
Well, Blues Brothers is one of my all-time favorite movies, so. Well, Jake, you just look fine down there slithering in the mud like vermin.
So Brownsburg Bulldogs, their football schedule on the year. They, as we talked about, playing Avon tonight. And we look at their schedule. I'm guessing it's that Pike game. Yep, it's the Pike game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Pike, of course. Yeah, that was back in week 1.
So.
We've seen a lot of Hoosier Crossroads MIC games this week, which has been great to see. The top two conferences in the state finally able to play each other.
Honestly, I haven't covered a lot of the MIC. I've covered Mid-State and HCC. What exactly does MIC stand for, and who's in it?
Metropolitan Interscholastic Conference.
Pike, North Central.
Hold on,
Oh, the kickoff's already here. And
Okay,
that one by Hagee goes out of bounds for the touchback.
Great kick by Hagee. But anyway, Carmel, Ben Davis, Center Grove, Warren Central, Lawrence North, Lawrence Central, Pike. And there's one other. Terre Haute North and South were in it as well, but they just left this year or last year.
Okay, you said Ben Davis, Warren Central, Pike, North Central, all in the same conference?
Yeah, Center Grove, Warren Central, Lawrence North, and Lawrence Central.
That's a tough competition.
Now you know why they're the number 2 conference in the whole country.
Yeah, I'd say so.
About 6 out of every 7 state championships.
Except when Cathedral's not doing that good, right? Well, that was 5A.
Cathedral's, 5A, yeah. But those are all 6A schools.
For now.
Yeah.
They might move up. Handoff goes to Freeze, and he swallowed that time behind the line of scrimmage. Great penetration that time coming up to make the tackle by Dayton Clemens, the strong safety for Plainfield. So that'll bring out second and call it 11 for this Roncalli offense.
Yeah, because of the new classification, as JP alluded to, they're crediting Fries with -2. You actually sometimes have to move up in a class into a higher class based on your postseason success.
And we know Cathedral has a lot of that.
Yeah,
so does this Roncalli team.
Yeah, that's right. Although they haven't had a whole lot in recent years because they've run into that brick wall known as Cathedral.
That's a very, very big wall. Gore on the end-around pass goes to Alfrey, who gets ahead for, call it 5 before he's brought down. But there is a flag on the play in the realm of holding. We'll see what the official call is.
And, of course, Roncalli was darn glad to see Cathedral moved up to Class 5A.
Yeah.
Where they,
you don't have to face them when you're on your way to the state championship. Makes it a little bit easier. I believe Cathedral played Westfield, if I remember correctly, for the 5A title last year. Westfield, the HCC school.
Yeah, and of course now Roncalli has to contend with a brick wall called Bishop Chatard, 12-time state champion.
Did they move up as well?
What's that?
Bishop Chatard moved up as well, huh?
Yeah, they're in Class 4A now. And
I didn't know that. Last I checked, they were 3A.
Yeah, they're 4A this year in sectional 22. Yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can be about 99% sure that the sectional winner will be one of those 2 teams.
So after the holding penalty, Roncalli's backed up a little bit further, and that'll bring out second and call it 18. Gore in the shotgun. Motion man's Alfrey once again. On the in-around pitch off, it goes to Strader, who has a little bit of room to work with before he's brought down. Tackle made in the open field that time by Tevin Tomlinson.
Yeah, solid gain there
to add to those tackles he has on the year.
Solid gain by Strader.
Let's give credit to this Plainfield defense. They're stepping up here to begin the third.
7 yards there by Strader. So that'll bring out still third and long, though. So a very good chance that the Quakers will get that third and out I talked about, which is very important to open the half with.
They talked about it. I mean, you don't have that conditioning if you're – well, I'll talk about that whenever Plainfield gets the offensive ball back.
Mm-hmm.
Gore fakes the handoff, looks right, has a man, throws, and
incomplete. Flag
thrown. Flag comes in late from the backfield.
Did it look like pass interference to you?
It might have been illegal contact. I'm not sure if it was pass interference. Coy Anderson shaking his head like, what did I do? So we'll see what the call is.
Got 3 officials deliberating there around the 30. With 10:10 to go here in the third quarter. Roncalli leading Plainfield 21-0. Holding.
They hold against Coy Anderson. So it's not a pass interference.
So I guess that would that'd make it 3rd and 1 then.
So it's still 3rd down, and we'll see where they spot it.
Boy, that's devastating for the Plainfield defense, though, to go from 3rd and 11 to 3rd and 1.
Well, if you still stop them here, it's still a good stand, and we saw them have the goal line stand earlier. So
they can do it, and like I said, they have had some good moments. Even last week, I mean, they gave up 20 points to Mooresville. Could have given up 35 easily. So they did do some good things, and they've done some good things tonight as well.
Alfrey wide left, one receiver wide right. Gore in the shotgun, fakes handoff to Freeze, keeps himself on the right side, has the first down, gets to the 40, cuts it back at close to the 46, and before he's finally pushed out of bounds. Tackle made that time by Luke Miller. So good decision that time by Casey Gore on the quarterback keeper on a little bit of an option play and picks up big yardage.
Yeah, Gore coming into tonight, 19 rushes for -6 yards, but, he certainly had a good one there, 15 yards to give him credit for on his second carry of the night. His first one was that quarterback sneak for 0 where they stopped him there at the 1.
So Plainfield unable to get their defense off the field, and Roncalli continues their drive. First and 10 on the Roncalli 44. Gore once again in the shotgun, 2 receivers either side. Luke Alfrey, the near side receiver, the receiver in motion. Handoff that time goes to Freeze. He cuts back after he went to the right and gets ahead on a very, very nice little bit of a second burst, if you will, to plow ahead for 5 yards.
Yeah, so Freeze now 12 carries, 65 yards on the game, just under 5.5 a carry. He's having a very good game. And by the way, running down the sectional lineup here in sectional 22, you've got Bishop Chatard, Mooresville, Northview, Roncalli, Danville, Lebanon, Northwest, and, of course, Plainfield.
2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Gore in the shotgun. Looking right, now looking across. Throws it long, and that one's out of bounds, not catchable. The intended target was Gavin Taylor.
Yeah, so now that's 4 consecutive incompletions for Casey Gore after completing 4 of his first 5. And that'll bring up 3rd and 5, very crucial third down for the Quaker defense. They need to get the ball back. They've got 3 scores to make up.
So,
3 touchdowns.
3rd and 5. Three receivers bunch set to the near side, 1 receiver to the right. Pistol formation with Gore. Gore looks right, throws, has his man, and that's Gavin Taylor. Or check that, Robbie Strader. Easy to mix up the 6 and 9 on the uniform, especially with my poor eyesight. So Strader gets it for the first down, and once again, Roncalli just being methodical in their offense, able to move the chains.
Yeah, so now that's Gore's 5th completion of the game. He has 121 yards now. And Strader, that's his 3rd reception. That puts him over 100 on the game. He has 103. 80 of them, of course, coming on that touchdown.
Strader and Luke Alfrey to the left. On the right side is Taylor. Pitch out goes to Freeze. Freeze has a lot of
he
pressure
stays on
in
his
the
feet.
backfield, and he's going to be brought back even further. And still on his feet. Plainfield trying to strip the ball out, unable to get it. First man there that really disrupted the play was sophomore superstar Bryce Biddle. And the rest of the rest of the Plainfield Quaker team just rallied to the ball.
And Nate Freeze, he was 12 of 65 going into that one. His rushing stats are going to take a big hit off that one. Let's see where they mark it. But he's going to have a loss of over 10 yards. Okay, they're going to mark him down for -10, bringing his total down to 55 on 13 carries.
So it'll be 2nd and 20, 8:01 left to go in the third. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. Pistol formation once again. Faking the handoff is Gore. Finds in the flat Taylor, who evades 2 tacklers and finally gets ahead to about the 40. Call it the 41 before he's finally pushed out. Tackle made that time by Mark Dahm.
So now the 2 completions in a row for Gore after missing 4, and they're going to credit him with 13 on that pass. That's Gavin Taylor's 2nd reception of the game. Gore now 6 of 11 through the air, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Keep in mind, no touchdowns, 4 interceptions coming into this game.
You wouldn't know that.
No,
Look
you
at the way he's
wouldn't.
performed here tonight. Gore takes it, looking right, throws, and it's broken up that time by Luke Miller, but flag was thrown in the backfield. So we'll see what the flag is about.
So let's see. 2 officials it's holding against the Rebels. So let's see.
Roncalli, if I'm not mistaken, is a Catholic school, correct?
Yes, they are.
Do you ever? I was surprised when you look at their mascot being a rebel.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. You know, that is an unusual name for a Catholic school, and back when I was growing up, one of our big county rivals in Hanover, also in Jefferson County, was the Southwestern. They were also the Rebels, and they actually had a Confederate flag on their logo. I wonder if they still do today.
I doubt it.
Very unlikely. One time last year in the Greenwood game, I did a profile of nicknames of former of schools in Indiana that have closed. One of them was called the Rifles. I bet they wouldn't allow that name today.
So it's 3rd and 17 with 7:09 left to go in the third. 3 receivers bunch set to the right, 1 to the left. Gord takes it, looking to that left side, has his man possibly coming back to get it. Gavin Taylor. So nice adjustment by Gavin Taylor after the ball was in the air. Tyler Maple there on the tackle, but give credit, all the credit really, to Gavin Taylor, who was able to slow up and haul that one in.
Yeah, so that's a couple of big third down conversions that the Rebels have made on this drive. 7:01 to go. That was a 29-yard pass there. The third completion in a row there for Gore. He's up to 163 yards. Who made the catch there? Was that Taylor? Okay. So that's his second one on this drive. He has 3 receptions now for 47 yards. So Gavin Taylor looking very good tonight for the Rebels. He's a senior, 6'1" and 180.
Hobson gets it on the carry, looks over and cuts to the right, but doesn't find much. Hard to find much when you have Bryce Biddle pretty much in the backfield already.
Yeah, Biddle, playing both sides of the ball tonight, had his first rush of the season a little earlier, and they're going to give Hobson credit for 1 yard there on his second carry of the game. 6:14 to go here, third quarter. The Rebels going after a 4-possession lead.
2 receivers to the right, tight end brought in on the far side. Shotgun formation, handoff goes to Hobson once again, gets room, 10-5, and he's in.
Got it.
So great rush that time by Hobson to get the score and make this a very one-sided game so far, Leck.
Yeah, and that was actually the first score in the game in a little over a quarter and a half, where Hobson there with the 19-yard run down the left side. And Matt Cunningham on the extra point. If he hits it, then it will be a 28-0 Roncalli lead. 5:52 to go here in the third quarter.
So Cunningham on, kick is up and looks good. Nope, no good. So it looks like it must have been just a little bit too far left. It looked good when it was kicked, but
Jake Hobson, not a big guy, 5'7", 149, but what a game he's having. 19-yard touchdown has the Rebels up 27-0 with 5:52 to go here in the third quarter at Plainfield.
So if you're head coach Woodard, what do you do in this situation, Luck?
Well, certainly, even the biggest optimist would have to concede that Plainfield's chances of coming back to win this game are very remote. But at this time, you just got to try to get some positives. You got nearly a quarter and a half. Try to get some good possessions, get some scores on offense, make some stops on defense, and get this team to some confidence. Because they've got they go from here. They go to the Mid-State Conference schedule, and things aren't going to get any easier.
So Cunningham on to kick it away. Going back deep to return is Zach Archer and Clayton White.
Yeah, and so 5:52 to go here in the third quarter as Cunningham kicks off. 3 for 4 and extra points tonight.
And a high spiraling kick fielded by Archer at the, call it 16. Nice little stiff arm. Check that. It's Clayton White. But on great coverage, he doesn't get much. Tackle made that time by Nate Otley, the senior, 5'11", 182 Roncalli Rebel.
So, yeah, next week, by the way, Plainfield will get into a Mid-State Conference. We'll get back into their Mid-State Conference schedule. Of course, they played a conference rival last week, Mooresville. Next week, they visit the Greenwood Woodmen, about 25 miles southeast of here.
Two receivers either side. I formation this time for Plainfield. Handoff goes to Foster once again. He stood up, but he's still driving.
Yeah.
But they do call it dead. I almost want to. He could have almost broke that because he never really stopped progress.
Yeah, I mean, and they're going to credit him, I believe, with 3 yards there for Dylan Foster, giving him 38 on 7 carries tonight, his first varsity game. And,
it's interesting. We talked about it. He's only been with this team for a little bit. Probably doesn't have the same kind of conditioning the rest of these guys do.
No, so, he's shown a lot of great promise, all things considered so far. They'll be looking for bigger things for him next week.
Foster with a great move in the open field, spinning ahead to about the 34. So that'll be close to another first down.
Yeah,
that cut he made right when the first man got there, and then the spin in the open field. I mean, this kid is very, very impressive.
He is, and I have a feeling that we're probably not going to see any more of Jacob Maple tonight. When the game's out of reach, you might as well just give him another week to heal up. They had him out there, so, I mean, he's obviously made a lot of progress, but they might as well just let him and, try to get back to 100% for next week.
This time it's Maple getting the carry.
40, now
50. He's got room to run. Gets out to the 40, 35. Flag thrown late, but Maple getting ahead all the way to about the 40-yard line. I'm not sure exactly where he was finally pushed out of bounds, but a big-time run by Maple that time.
Well,
this could be the 1-2 punch that this Plainfield offense has been looking for in the backfield all year long.
That's what they had last year when they had Josh Miller and Jacob Maple, and that really killed them, down the stretch when Josh Miller got injured. He was the senior last year. And now it's funny, I just thought they might as well just keep Maple out, but now he comes in and, he looks like he's back to his old self, so that's a great sign for the Quakers. And, you mentioned Roncalli being a Catholic school. One thing I noticed about a lot of the Catholic schools, a lot of them are independents, and
Cathedral.
They do not stock up on cupcakes. Of course, you have no incentive to since everybody makes the tournament. What the Catholic schools tend to do is just stock up on, a murderous schedule just to toughen them up for the tournament. And, and it works. I mean, we've talked several times about Cathedral. They play the national powers that are out of state. They play, Carmel. They play Ben Davis. They sometimes have losing records, and yet they win state championships. So, yeah, too bad, that nice run.
So it's a personal foul against Plainfield, so that'll back him up. It'll be 1st and 10 on the 41 of Plainfield. So the big game's wiped out. Maple back in there, 2 receivers to the left. Motion man is Dante Keys. Nicewinder gives it to Southwood, who check that. That's Biddle. It's hard when you got one fullback who's number 4, and the backup this week for him is number 44.
Oh, yeah.
From our vantage point in particular, because we're looking at it from the side. So all we see is the first 4.
Yeah, so there's a 2-yard gain there by Biddle.
So that brings out 2nd and call it 8. 2 receivers still left. Nicewinder under center. I formation once again. Maple the tailback. Fakes it. Nicewinder looks to throw. Has a man in the field. 30. Cutting it back. And getting all the way up ahead to call it the 24-yard line of Roncalli is...
So finally,
was that Seth Knuckles on the reception? That was.
It sure was. That's his first reception of the season and the first complete pass of the game for the Quakers.
I mean, you look at him on the depth chart, he typically plays linebacker, and offensively he is listed as a backup quarterback, but that time did his job in the reception game.
So 30 yards there for Knuckles, his first reception of the game and of the season, in fact, and the first completion of the game for Nicewinder. Goes for 30 yards.
2 receivers still left. And Southwood will have it on the carry. He'll get ahead for maybe 2, possibly 3.
3:19 to go here in the third quarter. Roncalli 8-time state champion, leading Plainfield 27-0. And they're going to give Southwood credit for 2 yards there, bringing him to 29 on the game on 9 carries.
I wonder how good this Plainfield team would be in like a two receivers either side. Southwood once again on the handoff. He'll get stuffed after he gets ahead for maybe 1, possibly 2.
He hit the line like a
late flag, though, from the back.
He hit that line like a battering ram. And
what I was trying to say is, like, I'm trying to think of the formation it's called. Brownsburg used to run it a couple of years ago, but you have like 3 receivers in the back. Northwood also runs it in Division II football.
Oh, okay.
What's the name of the formation? But it's you got so many running backs, and you know it's almost going to be a run. It's just trying to figure out where the run's going.
Are you talking about a wishbone?
The wishbone, thank you. There's a flex bone, wishbone. It's variations of it, but the bone, shall we say.
Yeah, I remember back in the 90s, Army ran it. And it was actually, come to think of it, when I was first watching college football in the Barry Switzer era, Oklahoma ran the wishbone a lot. It's when it's done well, it's a very tough formation to defend.
So once again, a personal foul, wiping out big gains and putting a lot more pressure on this Plainfield offense on this drive. That brings it to second and very long. It'll be second and about 21 based on where the ball's spotted, because they have to get to the 15-yard line for the first. They're currently at their own 35, or excuse me, Roncalli's 35. Dante Keys wide to the left. Mark Dom near side. Handoff goes straight ahead to Southwood, who breaks tackles and gets about half of that back.
Yeah, he got about 11 yards, so I believe that will be his longest. Yeah, that will be his longest rush of the night, although it's going to be far short of the first down.
Hagee on. I guess they'll try the field goal. I'm actually surprised. I mean, at this point, you figure you have to go for it. I mean, down 27-0 with 2:01 left to go in the third.
Yeah, maybe they just want to avoid the shutout. I don't know, but of course they could go for a fake. Would not surprise me at this point.
So this will be about a 40-yard attempt. Snap is up and looks good.
He hit it.
So Hagee on the 40-yarder is right down central.
So Plainfield finally gets on the scoreboard. 1:41 to go in the third quarter. They trail Roncalli 27-3.
Let's go ahead and thank some more of our sponsors. You can stop by and visit American Family Insurance Doug Hawk Agency Incorporated at 704 North Carr Road in Plainfield. You can reach them at 839-9445. Stop in Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 to discuss your insurance needs. For more than 2 decades, Wicker Construction is engaged in building custom homes, remodeling, insurance repair, and handyman services, while exceeding client expectations and delivering projects with professionalism and integrity. Wicker Construction works closely with you, the client, to understand your lifestyle and construction needs. Their services include insurance repairs, restoration, hailstorm and weather-related repairs, remodeling services, and new home construction. For more information, call Wicker Construction at 839-8353.
Well, back here at Plainfield, we're set to kick off, where your Quakers have finally gotten their first scorer of the game on a 40-yard field goal from the great Morgan Hagee. Now Hagee set to kick off, but the Quakers are still in a deep hole, 27-3 with 1:41 to go here in the third quarter.
Hagee with a nice kick. That'll be a touchback for sure. That was a very nice kick.
Morgan Hagee, Ball State bound, and definitely great assets to this Quakers program. Hopefully his team will be healthier the rest of the year, and which give him a much better chance to get some more wins. Of course, they did get that win a couple of weeks ago over Danville.
In Lucas Oil Stadium at that.
Yeah.
If you're going to get a win on the season, that's the best place to do it.
Oh, yeah, definitely something those kids will always remember.
I was jealous, that's for sure. I was jealous because I didn't get to call the game,
You ever called a game there?
No, I have not, actually.
I did. Actually, it was this week 4 last year, Decatur Central versus Martinsville.
I mean, I'm sure even that's something special.
Oh, yeah, it is. In fact, actually, I put a picture on Facebook of me. I had a guy take a picture of me where you could see like the field and all the stadium beside me in the press box, and I got like 30 likes for it.
Yeah, I think I've seen that one on Facebook.
Yeah, I probably have. So,
So to start this possession for Roncalli, they're actually backed up on the penalty. So it'll be 1st and 15 following the penalty. 1:41 left to go in the third quarter.
now I'll tell you.
So Roncalli set to drive once again. Gore out there. 2 receivers either side. Freeze, the running back behind Gore. Handoff goes to Freeze. He rushes up the middle with a couple of carriers on his back and gets close to the original line of scrimmage.
Yeah, making up some of those that he lost on that 10-yard loss that he had there on the last possession for the Rebels. Because we were talking, though, about Catholic schools having murderous schedules, though. My favorite example that I always give is Bishop Luers in Fort Wayne last year. They play their their Class 2A. They played 9 higher-ranked schools, went 0-9, and then they still won their first 2 tournament games. So there's a method to the madness. It really toughens you up for the tournament.
So number 44 on the carry. He cuts it back to the other side, and not really much there working for him as he's finally brought down. So once again, we have another player who's not on the roster sheet for us, 44. Getting some action.
Oh, yeah.
And this time it's on Roncalli's side.
Yeah. Did you hear the name that the PA guy did, Or did
he said he wasn't sure.
Okay.
Because it's not on the roster, and even the guys for Roncalli's radio station aren't really too sure.
So, all right, well.
Man in motion's Alfrey. Handoff on the in around goes to Strader, and he'll make a couple miss, but still not get enough for the first down. So that should bring us to the end of the quarter. So it'll be 4th down when they switch sides. Roncalli currently leads 27-3. So big time leads for Roncalli heading into the 4th quarter. With Julia Burbridge and Bud Green from Remax Centerstone, you can consider it sold. As a team, Julia and Bud have over 20 years of combined commercial and residential sales experience. Our team effort has brought many large-scale commercial projects to Plainfield, and Julia is a continued leader in residential sales across the county. Call Julia today at 317-754-5057 and let her make your next home purchase or selling experience as stress-free as possible. Special thanks to the Niagara Bottling Company, open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For more information on how they can get to work for you, please call 909-230-5000, extension 5912. The Beacon Sign Company specializes in local high school sports and event signage needs. This is their 12th year supporting the Red Pride football program. They are located at 9305 East U.S. Highway 36 in Avon. Call 272-2388 for all your signage needs, or stop by Monday through Friday, 9 to 6.
Well, back here at Plainfield, we're about to start the 4th quarter with your Quakers about to get the ball back on a punt, but trailing the Roncalli Rebels 27-3.
And we know if it's any weakness for Roncalli, their punting has not been good this year.
No, it hasn't. So a great chance for the Quakers to get some good field position here and try to, make that score closer.
Strader on to punt. Coy Anderson stands about his own 40. It's almost blocked.
Calls for a fair catch and takes it at the Plainfield 44.
So Plainfield will have the short field. We'll see if they can do something with it.
3rd quarter, by the way, Brownsburg leading Avon 14-7.
That's... I almost don't want to know the final score because I want to go and watch it.
Yeah.
I know poor boss, Rob Kendall, probably won't have it up till tomorrow, but I'm dying to watch that one. On the archive footage, you can actually view any of the games archived, even if you wanted to see how the Plainfield Quakers have done so far on their first 3 games of the season. You can always view that online, as well as the Brian Woodard Show. 3 receivers bunched to the near side. Nicewinder takes it and will fake the handoff, actually, and finds Keys in the flats. He gets head to the 40, the 35, before he's finally pushed out at right about that 35. So great job that time by Keys in the open field. I feel like I'm starting to know this Plainfield team. I forgot to flip over my spotting charts, and it didn't really affect me that much.
Yeah, and that was Keys with his first reception of the game, by the way. So now, after going incomplete on his first 7, Nicewinder's completed his last 2 for 46 yards combined.
How much was that last play for?
16.
16 yards?
Yeah. 30 on the one before that.
Well, Keys came into the game 2 receptions for 4 yards, so that'll increase that stat line for him.
And there's Foster again.
A little bit of pushing and shoving after the play that time from the 2 teams, though. But Foster is checking out for a breather. Like I said, I'm sure his conditioning's probably not quite on the same page as most of these other guys.
3 weeks unlikely, but nevertheless, he does have 9 carries for 52 yards, which is not at all bad for your debut after 3 weeks of practice.
2 receivers to the right, pistol formation. Maple now the motion man and going out to that right side. Handoff goes to Southwood up the middle, who's fighting for yards but doesn't get much. So that'll bring out 3rd and call it 2. Maybe 3rd and 1, actually. They might give him credit for 3.
Is that Southwood?
Correct.
Yeah. By the way, in the fourth quarter, Ben Davis all over Center Grove, 28-0. So what a year for the Giants, even by their standards.
Well, I mean, you think about it. I mean, that's a Center Grove team that has had to face Carmel and Ben Davis in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, that's not an easy load.
2 receivers to the right, I formation for Nicewinder. Motion man's Dante Keys from right to left. Nicewinder looks to Dylan Foster, and he's hit in the backfield. So great. Or check that. That was Maple on the carry. David Schott came up to make the play for Roncalli. The senior, 222 pounds, 6'1".
So they're going to credit Maple with -3 there. I have him 6 for 15 here in his return after 2 weeks off.
Well, I'd have to imagine at this point you go for it.
Might as well, yeah. Although, 45 yards, that is within Hagee's range.
Coy Anderson checks into the game. 2 receivers near side, 1 to the far side. Motion man is, check that. Nicewinder will just plow ahead and not get anything. So that'll be a sack.
So that'll be Nicewinder's first rush of the game as the Quakers turn it over on downs. 9:43 to go as the Rebels take over with their hands firmly in control.
At this point, I'm sure you just do your best to run as much of that 9 minutes off the clock as you can if you're Ron
Yeah, they clearly have a firm grip on this game, no question about it. And certainly it's a welcome breakthrough for them after that 0-2 start with,
sorry, go ahead.
Well, I know with the Drury losses to Southport and Bishop Chatard.
Well, I mean, you look at this team. We talked about it coming in. Colin McNamara not being there. That's your big go-to strong runner, north and south. Freeze is really a east and west type of runner as that pass is completed up ahead to that number 44, whose name we also don't know for Roncalli. I do apologize, but that's ahead for a gain of about 15.
We have no idea who that is. That's a direct quote from the Roncalli commentators. So
I don't feel it's that bad then.
What's that?
I said I don't feel quite that bad then.
Yeah.
But they don't have a north and south runner that you need in this kind of time to run off clock. Freeze is an east and west type of runner, a big play runner, and so is also Harris. So they're both small running backs, but Freeze gets on that carry, and he's stuffed. Or check that, that's Hobson, not Harrison. That's what I meant, Hobson. Their big north and south runner besides McNamara was Andrew Mappis. I'm not sure if he was unable to go tonight, the sophomore. He's a little bit of a bigger runner for this Roncalli team, but we have not yet seen him tonight.
Right. Well, I don't know that situation either, but, obviously we haven't seen him tonight. And,
and Coach Foley expected him to play. He was on there too deep, so.
Yeah, hopefully, because, the last thing that the Quakers need is another injury.
Oh, unable to haul it in is number 44.
He got 18 yards on his first reception, but incomplete there. Breaking a streak of 4 completions there for Gore.
So Plainfield with a chance to get off the field.
Gore's 8 for 14 on the game now, 181 yards.
I'll tell you what, man. You'll see Roger Roy and Nick Rowan hustle off the field. Those are some big guys. Nick Rowan, the junior, 305, and Roger Roy, 315.
So now the Quakers trying to, get the ball back, trying to.
And that one's not going anywhere for Hobson. He's hit in the backfield
So
by one of those big bodies, and that one's Bryce Biddle.
So Hobson now stuffed on his last 2 rushes after scoring that 19-yard touchdown.
So that brings out 4th down, and will force another Roncalli punt. Strader is averaging about 30 yards on the season, and that's about his per average today.
Yeah, they've not punted real well, so the Quakers with a good chance to get the ball back with decent position.
8:03 left to go in the 4th. Strader gets it, will kick. That one's a little bit better, but Coy Anderson takes it and did not call for the fair catch, and that one might cost him a yard or 2.
Yeah, 7:55 to go as the Quakers take over again on offense. Frankfort and North Montgomery tied at 14. I only mentioned Frankfort because they're the Hot Dogs. I love to say that name.
That's actually their mascot?
Yeah, the Hot Dogs.
You know, it's funny you mentioned, we were talking about mascots earlier. Avon played Assumption of Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah, what are they? I ought to know since I lived down there.
They're number 12 ranked in the country in volleyball. Assumption was, and you know, Avon's ranked number 1 at least in our latest polls.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see them up. They did lose to Assumption, but I had to look up what their mascot was. I'm like, Assumptioneers would be a funny one. As Nicewander gets sacked, and his arm was moving forward, so they'll call it incomplete. So Plainfield gets a break there.
Yeah, it looked to me like an incomplete pass.
But they're the Assumption Rockets.
Rockets, okay. Yeah, like your alma mater, Broad Ripple.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was kind of hoping for Assumptioneers. I just thought that would have been a better name.
Assumption what?
Assumptioneers.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's a word, but it sounds good.
Yeah. They
So 27 to 3 is the score. 7:50 left to go. Nicewander in the I formation. Dante keys the near side. Nicewander will hand off to Southwood, who plows ahead for a gain of 1, maybe 1, I should say.
Well, you know, when I covered Frankfurt a couple of years ago, when they played Danville, my halftime feature was the best nicknames in the country, and I found out there's a school in Illinois, in New Berlin, Illinois, called the Pretzels. So I said that every year in Oktoberfest they should do the hot dogs versus the pretzels. It would be, you know, an annual
That'd be a
classic.
good one.
Yeah.
And you know, you see a lot of these schools. They play those out of state games now.
Yeah.
It's such good experience. It's good measuring stick to see where you're at on the national stage.
Oh, it is, yeah.
So that rush will be short, well short. So that'll bring out 4th and call it 7, maybe 6 actually.
So Jacob Maple with, give credit for 4 yards there.
And it looks like Hagee will come on to punt it away. Talk about Hagee had 19 punts coming into this one for close to 700 yards.
He's had a busy night.
Very busy night. He's got a big leg, and he needs to use a lot of it here on this one.
Yep.
Low snap. Hagee gets it and
another
bobbles
bad one.
it.
Again, it was not a good snap.
And that's the second time Hagee's had to really kind of work on his feet because it had the bobble snapped earlier where he barely got it away. So that's the second low kick by Hagee on the punt tonight.
Yeah, he has not had an easy time. I mean, he's last week, we gave him the player of the game, and when it goes to a kicker,
special teams.
Yeah, it's a bad sign when your best player in the game is the kicker.
He had a good game against Mooresville, though.
Oh yeah, he had a great game on both the kicking and the punting.
So Roncalli, 2 receivers either side. Strader now in the quarterback, keeps it himself and rushes ahead for a gain of, call it 6, maybe 7. So Robbie Strader in there now. He's said his name plenty of times. He plays fullback, wide receiver, quarterback. He's all over the place for this Roncalli Rebel team.
Yeah, of course, had that 80-yard touchdown reception there to kick off the scoring in the first quarter, and they gave him credit for 6 on that one.
He's a 6-foot, 165-pound junior, and I'd imagine after this year when Gore graduates, it'll be Robbie Strader's team.
Yeah, I think you're right. Certainly, he's looked that good tonight.
Hands off goes to Hobson, and he's wrapped up behind the line.
So
Great
Hobson,
play that time by Dayton Clements coming in to make the tackle.
Hobson, now 3 carries, all for no gains since he had that 19-yard touchdown there in the third quarter.
Well, are you going to Greenwood next week? Do you know yet?
I don't know where I'm going to be sent next week.
We'll have to see what happens with that one, but if you do come,
Yeah.
I promise you will not have to hold the mic next week.
Okay, great.
Because I am getting a mic stand. That was one of the things I've convinced the wife. I need a mic stand.
Oh, cool.
So it'll be 3rd and 4, bunch formation, and the play clock expires. So that'll be a penalty. Or check that. Did they get the timeout? They did. So it'll be Roncalli timeout.
Well, yeah, it'd be cool to be. I covered Greenwood last year against Decatur Central. They got a nice facility down there, and have a very solid program there in the Mid-State Conference. It'd be good to get back there again.
Well, while we have a timeout, let's go ahead and thank some more of our sponsors. The Three Pines Brew Pub is an excellent place for great food. They offer craft drink selections brewed on site, features a family-friendly atmosphere, and make a great destination for your next dining experience. They're located at 5020 Cambridge Way in Plainfield. For more information about menu and drink selections, call 829-1000. Their hours are Sunday and Monday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., Tuesday and Thursday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 12:30. Cary Digital is a full-service, state-of-the-art digital printing from business cards to banners. They have been a multi-year provider of senior posters at the South End Zone. Their address is 2701 Fortune Circle East in Indianapolis. They're open weekdays from 7 to 7. You can call them directly at 317-227-0220 for more information. So Plainfield back in there on defense. Roncalli on offense. It's 3rd and 4 with 5:01 left to go in the fourth. Strader in a pistol formation. Fakes the handoff, rolls right, has his man in the open. That's number 44. And coming in and making the tackle was Dayton Clemens. But enough for the first down. And is it sad to say I almost hope he stayed in bounds? So it's on the 24-yard line of Plainfield, and he did not make it out of bounds. The clock continues to roll. Strader once again in a pistol, I guess. Running back's a little bit behind him. More of a shotgun, though. 2 receivers to the left, 1 near side. Pitch out goes to the left side to Kenny Gillum, the 6'1", 173-pound sophomore, who gets ahead for a gain of, call it, 5.
Kenny Gillum, okay. Yeah, that's his first, they said that's his first varsity carry, so.
Yeah, he did not have any rushes coming into this game.
Yep, so that's a good start for his career. So
2 receivers far side, 1 near side. Strader takes it, hands off again to Gillum, who plows ahead, breaking tackles up ahead to the 15-yard line.
So, Dylan Foster, star being born tonight for Plainfield. Now it looks like, Kenny Gillum, star being born for Roncalli. As they credit him with 5 on that.
Clock continues to roll down to 3:25 now.
The injuries and the vacancies in that backfield, there's opportunity for someone that wants to take advantage. Certainly Jake Hobson has looked good in his stints tonight. And the sophomore Gillum getting an opportunity here in the final.
Bunch formation in the backfield. 3 running backs back there and almost a flex bone. Tight ends in tight and bobbled on the handoff. Plainfield might have capitalized. And they do. So it's Plainfield football.
Second fumble recovery of the game.
It's not going to hurt Roncalli. I mean, this game's pretty much wrapped up. But
now, did the quarterback fumble on that one? I couldn't tell if he.
No, it's the wide receiver.
Okay.
He bobbled it after he caught it, or on the pitch out. And that's Bryce Biddle, is actually 3rd recovery of the season on fumbles.
Who was the receiver who got it that time?
It was Gillum.
Gillum, okay.
I believe. So Plainfield comes back out on offense. 3 receivers near side with 3:01 left to go in the fourth. Nicewander will hand off to Foster, puts a move on, gets to the outside for a gain of 7. Wow. He's not just a north and south. I mean, he got to the edge that time.
Yeah, so Dylan Foster, they're giving him credit for 5, so now he's 10 for 57, leading the Quakers. 2:56 to go. Quakers trying to get, some more good plays in before this game ends.
Fakes the handoff, and he'll be tackled. That didn't fool anybody, and getting in there to make that tackle was number 54, who's also not on the roster.
So another 3rd and long for the Quakers. Not that it makes a whole lot of difference at this stage of the game, but tell you one good thing, if you got to think about if you're the Quakers. I mean, you only gave up 6 points in the second half. I mean, the defense has done a lot of good, in keeping this Roncalli offense contained.
2 receivers either side, I formation for Plainfield. Roncalli once again stacking the box. There's nobody more than 10 yards deep. And Southwood will take it on the carry for maybe 1.
So I guess we'll see Morgan Hagee punt for one final time for this game.
No, they'll go for it.
They give Southwood credit for 1 yard. So in that case, I guess we'll get at least one more offensive play from the Quakers. Still have all 3 timeouts left. 5 seconds on the play clock, and they're still in huddle.
Timeout. So, lack of offensive execution has really hurt Plainfield here today. And it doesn't help when, the threat of the pass is not necessarily there, at least on the long side of the pass, because if you're Roncalli, you can just stack the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, only 2 completions tonight for Colin Nicewander out of 11 attempts. And, which is it's not a knock on him. It's just that, this is not the Plainfield team that it would be if they were healthy. I mean, they're playing with a lot of deep subs, and they're really playing with a lot of guys who they were not counting on playing a lot this year.
Well, if you're a business owner with or without employees, you're probably wondering about your payroll. What about taxes, child support, auditing, Social Security? It can be a bit overwhelming, but we've got the answer for you. The Payroll Department Incorporated. Payroll Department Incorporated can help put your mind at ease where all these problems are concerned. Locally owned and operated for over 20 years. Call today at 852-2568 or stop by the Payroll Department Incorporated at 701 North Green Street in Brownsburg. We also want to thank our friends at Dugan Chevrolet, Dugan Sports Performance, and Jimmy Johns for sponsoring tonight's broadcast. Thank you for supporting Plainfield football. Hagee's kick on the punt is coming up to field it by Hobson by about the 49 of Roncalli, and he gets ahead to call it the 47 of Plainfield. Or check that 42 of Plainfield. So with 1:22, that should just about do it. I'd imagine they'll take the knee down, and we won't see a timeout.
I would think so, yeah. Nevertheless, a solid win for Roncalli. They improved to 2-2, or will improve to 2-2, while Plainfield will drop to 1-3. But again, the Quakers are making a good effort. They get an A for effort. They just don't have the personnel right now with all these injuries.
So there'll be a run for Roncalli to continue to move the clock.
Did you catch who the ball carrier was?
I did not. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And this time, 2 receivers either side for Roncalli. The clock continues to move. 8 seconds now on the play clock. They take their time spotting it on purpose to finish out the play clock. Now they'll let it roll, and that should be the last play from scrimmage. So give credit to Roncalli. They came in tonight and got the job done as fans start filing out. I mean, let's recap the game, Lek, and we'll start with that scoring breakdown of yours.
Okay, all right. Well, first of all, in the first quarter, Roncalli got the first points of the game when Robbie Strader caught an 80-yard touchdown pass from Casey Gore. Matt Cunningham's kick made it 7-0. Then with 6:06 remaining in the first quarter, Jordan Sinkhorn intercepted Colin Niswander and returned it 15 yards for a touchdown. Cunningham's extra point made it 14-0. On the first play of the second quarter, Nate Freeze rushed 12 yards for a touchdown, and Cunningham's extra point made it 21-0. In the third quarter, with 5:52 to go, Jake Hobson rushed 19 yards for a touchdown. This time the extra point was wide left, making the score 27-0. And finally, in the third quarter, with 1:41 to go, Morgan Hagee closed out the scoring by giving the Quakers their only points of the game on a 40-yard field goal. Individual statistics first for the victorious Roncalli Rebels, who improved to 2-2 on the season. Casey Gore had his best game of the season by far, completing 8 of 14 passes for 181 yards, 1 touchdown, and no interceptions. His leading receiver, Robbie Strader, caught 3 passes for 103 yards and 1 touchdown, including that 80-yarder. Then Gavin Taylor had 3 receptions for 47 yards. Danny Aney, 1 for 13, and number 44, whose name we do not know, 1 for 18. On rushing, Nate Freeze led the way, 14 for 61. Then Robbie Strader had 5 for 25. Jake Hobson had 6 for 27. He and Freeze, of course, had 1 touchdown each. Then Casey Gore, the quarterback, also had a decent game on the ground, 2 for 15. And Luke Alfrey, 1 for 1. In addition, we had number 44, who, of course, the receiver, had 1 reception for 18 yards. He also had 1 rush for -1. And then Kenny Gillum came off the bench in the fourth quarter, had 3 for 9. And finally, for your Plainfield Quakers, who dropped to 1-3 on the season, Colin Niswander completed 2 of 11 passes for 46 yards, no touchdowns, and no interceptions. Seth Knuckles had 1 reception for 30 yards, while Dante Keese had 1 for 16. On the ground, Dylan Foster, playing in his first varsity game, 10 rushes for 57 yards, while Tristan Southwood, 13 for 44. Jacob Maple, returning after missing 2 games with an injury, 7 for 17. Corey Anderson, 3 for 9. Bryce Biddle, 2 for 1. And finally, Colin Niswander, 2 for -6.
So Roncalli comes into Plainfield and gets the job done, defeating the Plainfield Quakers with relative ease. So not exactly the resistance, if you're a Plainfield Quaker fan, that you wanted to see from the team tonight. But, as we've talked about, they may have lost the game, but there's plenty of positives to take away. We saw a lot of positive things happen, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, and also the breakout of possibly the, second option in the running game for this Plainfield team in Dylan Foster.
Yeah, we saw that. We saw Jacob Maple back. Now, granted, he clearly is not back to 100% yet, but clearly he's making progress. So hopefully for the Quakers, he will be back to 100% by next week. So in that case, 2 running back tandem of Maple and the new star Dylan Foster would have the potential to cause a lot of problems for Greenwood and open up some passing options for Niswander, who has struggled. But give him credit, he has not made a lot of mistakes. 4 games, only 1 interception. So, while Niswander's not having a great season by any means, he has, played smart, and he has not given games away. And then once again, we saw a lot of good things, as you alluded to, from the rushing defense. And even the passing defense, except for that 80-yard play, they really did not give up a ton of big plays tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the one play was on the offense, and there was a couple of other ones. We talked about the big, it was one single strikes. It was all it took for Roncalli to build up their lead here today. Let's go ahead and pick our players of the game. I want to pick one offense and one defense. I'll let you pick whichever one you want on either side, and I'll pick the other one.
Well, it's an easy pick. I mean, Dylan Foster, he came off the bench. In the middle of the second quarter, he got the crowd into it. He brought a lot of spirit, played very hard, ran hard. It was very tough to bring him down. And we just might have gotten a solid look at one of the bright spots of Plainfield's future. So, yeah, Dylan Foster, no question.
Okay, well, that's the offense player of the game. Defensively, and a little bit offensively, I'm going to mention Bryce Biddle. Played a very solid game defensively. We talked about the goal line stand. That doesn't get done unless your nose tackle is doing a heck of a job up front.
Yeah.
Also had the fumble recovery, and he was there for a couple of tackles for loss as well. So he had a big-time gain and even got a carry. So that would be my player. Two carries, excuse me.
So there's a lot of good things. Yeah, Biddle had a heck of a game. And, with the goal line stand and with the 2 fumble recoveries, there are some good things to take away. So I think if you're Coach Woodard, you got to focus on the positives. Now, obviously, you have to work on the passing defense, no question about it. But, you still got 5 games to do that, and you got 5 games to get some of these guys healthy. And so, they got Jacob Maple 7 carries tonight. It was good they didn't overwork him, especially when it got, when it was obvious that Plainfield had little chance to win. But, certainly he's come a long way in the last 3 weeks, and, hopefully he'll be back to full strength next week.
Up next for Plainfield High School, they will be on the road for their first road game of the year against mid-state rival Greenwood, who entered tonight 2-1 on the season. So it should be a very interesting way to kick off it'll be their second conference game since they've already played Mooresville.
Yeah, and definitely, it would be huge if they were to go down there and get a win. Of course, Coach Mike Campbell does have a solid program there for the Woodmen, but that should be a winnable game if Plainfield is healthy enough. And then following that, then they return here in 2 weeks for Decatur Central. Justin Dixon's teams are always a big challenge.
Tommy Stevens.
Yeah,
Tommy Stevens.
Yeah, big IU recruit, and he has such a powerful and unconventional offense. Then week after that, they go to Franklin, who's been a much improved program the last few years. A very high-powered offense there for the Grizzly Cubs. And then come back home for a final time 4 weeks from tonight against Whiteland, featuring that sensational wide receiver Isaiah Callaway. Ohio State, among other schools, are after him. Before finally wrapping up 5 weeks from tonight at Martinsville, the Artesians are rebuilding after losing, the bulk of last year's offensive stars. But Fred Cuttriff, always, has an explosive offense there.
Well, that'll just about do it for us here at Plainfield. We want to thank you for listening to Plainfield Varsity Football, powered by AudioSportsOnline.com. This broadcast is brought to you by the Hendricks County Flyer, Rhodes and Kinley LLP, Copico Office Solutions, American Family Insurance, Doug Hawk Agency Incorporated, Wicker Construction, Julia Burbridge of Remax Centerstone, the Niagara Bottling Company, Beacon Sign Company, 3 Pints Brew Pub, Curie Digital, Jimmy John's, Dugan Chevrolet, Dugan Sports Performance, and the Coachman Restaurant and Lounge. Once again, I want to give you a thank you for Lex Zorn for joining us tonight, and once again bringing in on the color.
Oh, it's always great to commentate under the Friday Night Lights, and always great to team with you, JP. And hope to do it again this season. And whether it's next week at Greenwood or beyond, and hopefully we'll see some Quaker wins this season. I think we will. We just got to get some of these guys healthy.
Yep, and also want to give a shout out and thank you to Doug Edens for working the camera for us. So that's one less thing that we have to worry about, and we can do a better, improved quality broadcast for you folks out there. So want to give him a thank you, and like I said, thank our sponsors. So I'm JP Sinclair for Lex Zorn and Doug Edens, hoping you support high school athletics as much as we do. Have a good weekend.
Good night.